off to the races, the 30, the 20, the 10, and the end zone. Touchdown, Boxers.
Amelia, nice one-handed grab by Joey Amelia.
Pierre up the middle, he's got a hole. Rosenpierre all the way to the 30, the 20, the 10, the 5, and the end zone. Touchdown, Boxers.
First about 12. Play action Sullivan got throw this one. Looking down the field for Sissio. That one is caught. Jeff Sissio to the end zone.
Back to the pass, looking long towards the near side. He's got a wide open Jalen Alrecunder.
And out to Devontae Graves. Devontae Graves has some open daylight here. Devontae Graves in Barnstable territory off to the races. Devontae Graves, a 66-yard run to the house.
He's got a man, it's Alrecunder. His second long reception of the game to the top. The end zone, touchdown, Boxers.
Bridgewater-Raynham Trojans defeat the Brockton Boxers. Bridgewater-Raynham 14, Brockton 8.
The first time in this Thanksgiving rivalry that a team has been blanked.
Bridgewater-Raynham taking the 1-point victory, scoring 15 unanswered points. You give to Edmund Kelsey, and is he in? It's going to be close, no sign yet. BR calling for it, and no, BR takes the win.
Boxers and Trojans renew their rivalry next on BCA and BTV.
Good morning and welcome to Bridgewater-Raynham Regional High School as the BR Trojans and Brockton Boxers get set to renew a rivalry. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I'm John Luck with Brian Broad. We are representing BTV, and we have BCA's Mad Dog Matt Nelson here. And Matt, the Brockton Boxers coming to this game at 3-7, but still with a 3-7 record, there are some players that really stick out.
Yeah, Brockton's coming off an anemic offense loss to the Taunton Tigers, a team they haven't lost to since the 1960s. So Brockton fired up, and their seniors, a lot of them on this team, 23 I believe, on this Brockton roster, looking to perform for the last time for Brockton.
And this is senior day, as you mentioned, so BR Trojans taking that long walk down the field now. Brian. BR losing 24 seniors, including Devontae Graves and Bryce Shaw. So really some big names on this BR offense that are playing for the last time.
Yeah, and also they're losing Corey Sullivan, who's also a senior, and Bryce Shaw, congratulations to him as he is committed to play at Navy when he graduates from Bridgewater-Raynham. So, this is a season where Bridgewater-Raynham only had 3 home games, so really didn't get much opportunity for the seniors to play at home. But today, of course, their final game, and what a better opponent than Brockton in the Cape Cod Cafe Cup.
This is supposed to be a rivalry, however, it's been one-sided recently as BR has won 6 of the first 7 games. Brockton did take out the Trojans a couple years ago in the semifinal round. That was a Michael Kilroy to Marcus Ballard 65-yard connection. Brockton won that game 10-6, but still a very one-sided rivalry. And Matt, there have been some people in the City of Champions that think that Peter Colombo may be coaching for his job in this game. So if he comes out with a win, maybe his job is safe, but still some real turmoil as far as Brockton goes in the coaching position.
The problem, I don't think, is with the coaching. I don't think it's with Peter Colombo. I think it's with the Catholic Conference. Brockton plays Catholic Memorial, Severian, BC High in the regular season every year. You can pretty much chalk those up as 3 automatic losses. So if you look at it realistically, we've got Weymouth, Durfee, New Bedford, guaranteed 3 wins every year, and then the 1 wild card before we enter the playoffs. I think it's not the coaching. I think it's the schedule. But Peter Colombo hasn't won a Super Bowl since his first year at the helm of the Brockton Boxers, and there's a lot of people that feel that he doesn't really want to be at the helm of the Brockton Boxers anymore.
Meanwhile, the BR Trojans coming off of yet another sectional final appearance, losing to King Philip. Brian, this was a real back-and-forth game that came down to the fourth quarter once again. How much of a driving force is that game going to have on this game for some of the players that may have a sour taste in their mouth?
I think it's going to be, especially, of course, we mentioned it's senior day, and you've lost to King Philip now the last 2 years, and Shane Fromer had just an unbelievable game last year and an unbelievable game this year for King Philip Warriors. So that's definitely going to be a driving force, as it's, for many of these players here, it's going to be the last game that they ever play in football.
So once again, Brockton had their postseason end at the hands of Needham, a 23-20 overtime loss. BR lost in the sectional final, 29-19, as we get set for the national anthem by the BR marching band, and also the coin toss. But let's talk about the quarterback for the Brockton Boxers, Matt. Jose Montero missed last year completely with a serious knee injury. Came back this year, and Montero's done a great job at the quarterback position, just had some bad breaks.
Yeah, he's coming off back-to-back ACL injuries. He's missed the greater part of the last 2 years. Michael Kilroy took over for the first one, and then Matthew Caruso last season. But Jose Montero Jr. showing no ill effects. He's the second leading rusher on this team. He's got an excellent deep ball. He's put a lot of pressure on his back leg. That's the ACL that he tore. And he's got a lot of strength. He's spent a lot of time rehabbing, didn't rush his return, and he's had excellent success this season, both throwing and running the ball.
Montero actually said at the beginning of the season. So actually we'll step aside for a minute as we go down to the field for the coin toss between Brockton and Bridgewater-Raynham.
Responsible conduct of your players. If you have players in situations they don't belong in, let's get them out of there. So anybody any questions right now? Yes, sir. All right. I have a regular coin. That's the tail. Okay. I'm going to let it hit the ground. What are you going to call? Heads is the call.
Heads it is.
What do we got?
It's a tail.
Tail. You have won the toss. Defer. I want to defer your choice. BR has won the toss and elected to defer. You guys are going to take the ball.
All right, so BR has won the toss. They will defer to the second half, and BR typically is a second half team, Brian. Offensively, they have that big drive in the third quarter, so really status quo for Dan Buron.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's what you wanted to do for Bridgewater-Raynham. It's one of those small victories here. Win the coin toss. You start off with the ball in the third quarter, and it was St. John Bridgewater-Raynham really makes some great adjustments at the locker room at halftime. And we always say that they have that long, sustaining drive to start off the third quarter. So a nice little victory here to start off the day for the Trojans.
There are some questions as far as the BR Trojans go. How good is the ankle at Devontae Graves? Also Bryce Shaw, Corey Sullivan, Jeff Ciccio. All of them were injured in that game against King Philip a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, they all got banged up ankles, but the good thing here is Bryce Shaw, Devontae Graves, Ciccio, and Sullivan all have dressed here, and they don't even have ankle braces on. And they look pretty good jumping around yesterday at Pep Rally.
We'll get to Pep Rally and everything else going around the two schools coming up in just a little bit, but we're going to step aside momentarily for the playing of our national anthem by the Bridgewater-Raynham Marching Band. Both sides of the bleachers are packed. BR and Brockton renewing a Thanksgiving rivalry. And you're just moments away from kicking this off. BR comes in with an 8-2 record, Brockton at 3-7, but really the next 44 minutes you can just wipe those records out. All that matters is to get the win on Thanksgiving Day and take home that Cape Cod Cafe Cup because you have a trophy for your season.
John, you mentioned the playoff loss against the Needham Rockets for Brockton. That game ultimately came down to mistakes for Brockton. Scored a touchdown, less than a minute left to tie the game. Could have taken the lead, 1-point lead as time was expiring. But Brockton missed the extra point, went to overtime, and Needham took it.
So this is a joint presentation between BTV and BCA, and we can't have a joint presentation between BCA and BTV without the one and only Newbie Rateau, who's on the sideline for us. Newbie, happy Thanksgiving.
Hey, what's up, guys? First and foremost, happy Thanksgiving. Amazing day today. Beautiful day out for football. Had a chance to talk to two of the head football coaches, head coach Brown and head coach Colombo. They both had the same message. Today is all about the seniors. They say, you know what, it's a senior day today. They want to make sure they go out on a positive winning note. So, only one way to find out. Enjoy the game, guys. And by the way, they were in shock, and they could not stop complimenting on my turkey hat. So, hey, listen, it's the best hat you've seen since, what, last year? Guys, back to you guys. Let's go. Gobble, 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 gobble.
All right, Newbie, thank you very much. This kick is going to go out of bounds off the leg of Thomas Fay. To open things up on Thanksgiving morning 2017.
That was one thing that Bridgewater-Raynham struggled with against King Philip with Tommy Fay. He was kind of kicking those low line drive kind of squib kicks against King Philip. You know, of course, the weather and the wind had somewhat of a factor here, but today there seems to be very little wind at the moment.
Really no cold weather to speak of. If you were with us when we were at King Philip, the stands, I think, were about 15 degrees, wind chill of 10.
Yeah, that was a cold one.
So Jose Montero playing out of the shotgun to open things up. Split receiver set. Here's a handoff on the first play of the game. Up to the 36. That's going to be the star running back there, Rosen-Pierre.
And Rosen-Pierre has these big play abilities. I had the opportunity to watch Brockton a couple of games, and he's really just ripped off some huge runs. So that's something you have to watch out for if you're the Trojans, especially if he gets to the outside and gets some open field.
He'll bring up a second and about 4. Paul Mitchell lined up on the near side for the Boxers. Here's a handoff to Pierre once again on second down, and Pierre is going to get the first down by about a yard or so, up to the 43.
Rosen-Pierre's got that sneaky speed, John. He can find the littlest of all holes. He only needs about 4 to 5 inches, and he just turns on the jets, blows past everybody. Next thing you know, he's ahead for 30, 40, 50 yards.
It's a three-headed monster when you talk about this offense. You have Rosen-Pierre, you also have Jalen Cundiff, and of course the quarterback, Jose Montero Jr. Jr. under center. Gets the pitch to Pierre on first down. There is a flag. Pierre goes down at the 37.
Looks like there's going to be a hold on Brockton.
Not to be forgotten in that offensive beast for the Boxers, Dexter Cumberlander, the senior co-captain, who played at Severian last year, had some issues, transferred back to public school, back to Brockton, and he's been a real leader on this team in the offensive huddle, as well as leading by example in the Boxer running attack.
Give credit to the BR defense getting behind the battle of the trenches there to stop Pierre way behind the line of scrimmage, even with the penalty.
That's a penalty you really could have ill afford if you're the Boxers, because they were having some success running this ball on this Trojans defense, and now that you have those negative 10 yards and brings up a 1st and 20.
Brockton coming off of a 9-7 loss against the Taunton Tigers in a consolation round game. Now facing a 1st and 20. Play action. And the ball is loose. BR thinks they have it. And they do. A big turnover early in the game for the Brockton Boxers.
Yeah, that looks like that was supposed to be a pitch play out to Pierre, and he wasn't expecting to get the ball. We'll take a look at the replay and just kind of some confusion there. Bridgewater-Raynham gets the ball with some short field.
Looks like that was Matt Foley in on the initial strip. That was Raul Goncalves with the carry.
Guys, that drive for Brockton pretty much summed up that loss to the Taunton Tigers in anemic offense. 222 total offensive yards last game. There was a fumble lost, a couple of turnovers on downs. Brockton couldn't get anything going on the offensive side of the ball.
Trojans in a new look offense here as far as personnel go, and we'll get to that come up in just a little bit. As Jufrey and William Lombard in the backfield, and this is going to be Jufrey getting the handoff on the first play on offense for the BR Trojans. We mentioned the injuries to Bryce Shaw and Devontae Graves, Brian. There was a lot of question as to whether or not these two would actually be playing today.
Yeah, I was expecting to see Bryce Shaw and Devontae Graves, and we've seen Graves on the sideline there jumping up and down, so didn't really think that the ankle was bothering him that much, but maybe trying to spread out the ball a little bit to see what you have for next year.
Jufrey, a junior, and Lombard, a sophomore. The pipeline of running backs just continue to go through the Bridgewater-Raynham football system. 2nd and 5 off that Jufrey 5-yard carry. Split receiver set.
Yeah, that's going to be a false start. It looks like that was going to be James McDermott there that jumped early for the Trojans.
So still a 2nd and 11, pretty manageable. You were getting brave with a telestrator.
I was trying, but then it moved, and then I didn't want to point to the wrong person.
If we remember last year, I actually broke the telestrator to the point that we didn't have a monitor in the booth for the second half.
Yeah, I didn't quite get to that point.
Brings up a 2nd and 11. Joey D'Amelia and Lombard coming to the near side.
There's a lot of weird offensive shifts once the Trojans break huddle.
Sullivan throwing this one downfield over the head of Jeff Ciccio. I've been looking for a penalty there for pass interference.
Yeah, Mad Dog, we really haven't seen this at all this year for the Trojans offense. A lot of confusion, a lot of motion at the very beginning of the play as you see Devontae Graves comes in and a late flag thrown. But yeah, we really haven't seen this much motion from the Trojans offense.
I'm going to guess that something was said from the Brockton Boxers. Are the Trojans going to get the unsportsmanlike?
Unsportsmanlike against the BR Trojans, and that's very uncharacteristic for a BR Trojans football team. There was a little skirmish back in Dartmouth, the game against Dartmouth, when Joey D'Amelia was getting into it with some of the Dartmouth players. But really, besides that, it's a very well-behaved football team.
And that's your first unsportsmanlike of the game, so after your second one, you're disqualified from the rest of the game. So it brings up a 3rd and 26, or 2nd and 26 here for the Trojans.
All these guys for BR that have the injured ankles, the banged up legs, there's an extra week off before this game, so that might factor into why a lot of them are going today.
The ball comes loose on 2nd down. The Boxers do come up with it.
And he fumbles.
It's out again.
That's pretty much a synopsis of the Brockton season. You recover a fumble, you lose the ball, and
hot potato
does roll out of bounds.
If BR recovers it, this is going to be a 1st down.
Referee's consulting right now. Dan Bjorn in the mix. Have a meeting of the minds right here, and judging by Dan Bjorn's reaction, it might be Boxer's ball.
Well, that was Devontae Graves' first touch of the game, and he fumbles it, and they're going to say that this is Boxer's ball. Take a look at the replay here. And it's one of those instances where you're trying to fight for a couple extra yards, and sometimes you forget about the ball, and good job from Brockton there to get the helmet on there, poke it loose.
Remember what happened last time Devontae Graves fumbled the ball in the first play of the game? He went off for over 300 yards rushing against the Barnesville Red Raiders. To give you another up-close look, it looked like Cicio actually dove on the ball as he was sliding out of bounds.
I think what happened there is BR didn't gain full possession before the ball traveled out of bounds, so Brockton, the last team to have possession on the hot potato play, they come away with the ball.
Yeah, Cicio was trying to recover that. He did slide out of bounds.
Very sloppy first few minutes of this football game. Already the third penalty, I believe.
And that was a false start on Brockton.
So now Box is facing a 1st and 15 right from jump. Handoff to Pierre on first down, straight through the middle of the Trojans defense up to right around the 30-yard line. Should be a pickup of about 6 on the play.
You know, maybe it's just 10 a.m. starters playing around with some of these players here. It's a little early. You know, when we got here, we were yawning, we were tired, it was cold.
Dark out.
Yeah, there was no sun. So you're probably just playing around with you a little bit.
Brockton's first 2 drives, one starting 1st and 20, the other starting 1st and 15 after consecutive penalties before their first plays.
They actually gave Pierre the extra yard, so going to be a 2nd and 8 now. And he gets the pitch here on 2nd down, going off tackle to the far side, gets the first down, and then some. Rosen-Pierre to the 46-yard line for a 15-yard pickup.
We'll take a look at the replay here, but if you're going to give Rosen-Pierre that much open field, that guy, as Mad Dog said it before.
There's the Jets.
Yeah, he can just turn it on into the 2nd gear there and just completely take off. So that's something you're going to have to watch out for if you're Trojan. You want to make sure that he's not going to have free space.
Pierre this season, 854 yards rushing coming into this game and 6 touchdowns. First down for the Brockton Boxers with a man in motion. Going to be a QB, keep straight up the middle. Going to give him forward progress on the play. So Montero trying to help out his own cause. Gets about a 2-yard gain.
Odd to see a QB sneak on 1st and 10, but sometimes those plays can be ripped off for 6 or 7, 8 yards. And that front 4 of Bridgewater-Raynham, we'll take a look at the replay here. They were ready for it. Good job from that front 4 of the Trojans.
Gives us a chance to talk about the BR starting defense. Joey D'Amelio, Danny Taylor, Kyle Duggan, Nico Carucci. Your defensive back, Mike Wilder, Robert Jufre, James Hannafin, your linebackers. Get the rest of them in a little bit here. On 2nd down, pitch to Rosen-Pierre again, straight through the middle into BR territory. Hanging on for dear life, that's Kyle Duggan on to Pierre. Matt Foley, Bailey Leach, James Gimler, Gerald Fernandez are all your defensive linemen for the BR defense.
It's going to take almost all of them to take down Rosen-Pierre today.
Going to be a 3rd and short here. Handoff straight up the middle. That's going to be a first down for the Brockton Boxers as they continue to get back on track here on offense. And we're going to send it down right now once again to Newbie Rateau. Newbie.
And welcome back here. I'm down with some of Bridgewater's best right here. Cheerleaders who competed in a state tournament. First and foremost, congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Talk about that experience of competing on the state level, representing your school.
It's very nerve-wracking because everyone's there watching, coming back from back-to-back state champions. So very nerve-wracking to keep the legend going. Basically very bittersweet and nerve-wracking because everyone's just really good this year.
Just kind of competing against different schools around the state. How does that feel, kind of seeing different competitions and everything? I mean, how do that make you guys feel like, we're competing against the best of the best?
Yeah, it's cool knowing that we're going against all the best teams in the States and being able to come on top time and time again. It's just really cool knowing how great of a team we have and a great coach.
Now, you guys are seniors. Talk about some of your best memories on the team.
Oh, God. I don't know. There's a lot. Winning's a good one. Probably after you compete at states and you just did it and you hit the best of your ability and knowing that you get to have another ring.
Well, congratulations to all of you guys and best of luck in the future. Back up to you guys.
Newbie, thank you very much. Once again, congratulations to the BR Cheerleaders on another state championship. And Brian, they're just continuing to pick up the hardware here.
Yeah, 4th state championship out of the last 5 years for Bridgewater-Raynham, and you're right. I mean, just some excellent cheerleaders that we have, and as you said, it's just nerve-wracking. You kind of go in there with that confidence, but the teams get better, and you kind of have to now stick with that aura there that you are one of the best in the state, and you have to keep that image going. It's got to be tough.
And you saw just a few moments ago, Rosen-Pierre with a fumble picked up by Matt Foley. BR called a timeout. So we were talking about the Brockton offense getting back on track, but once again, it's that one key move there as you see Rosen-Pierre just lose control of the ball. I don't know if he was confused that he had the ball.
I don't think he had possession of the ball. I think the pitch out was half a step behind Pierre.
And that's unfortunate because we've seen so far Brockton on both their drives have been able to move the ball with some success against this Trojans defense, and luckily for the Trojans, have been 2 turnovers.
Devontae Graves back into the BR offense after missing the first couple plays. CCO switches off to the near side. Graves gets the handoff on first down. And going to take it just shy of the first down marker. If not, maybe he got the first down. But Devontae Graves, another 9-10-yard pickup.
Take a look at the replay right here. He's just going to have a huge hole right there, and they just do a great job. He sees it, he runs right through it. And that's what we've seen all year from Bridgewater-Raynham's offensive line. And when you can start, getting that ball up the middle, and you're going to start packing, 6, 7, 8 guys in the box, that's when you're really going to see Devontae Graves start to go to the outside and use some of that open field.
Maybe a second and short, approaching 4.5 left to go in the first quarter. Still scoreless and a rather sloppy first quarter between these two football teams. Graves on second down, gets the handoff, gets the first down, up to the 24. Maybe a 3-yard pickup for the senior running back.
Sloppy is the absolute perfect word to describe what we've seen so far. A fumble for each side, a couple penalties for each side. This has been an ugly one so far.
It's really going to come down to what team corrects their mistakes first. I mean, usually it's these types of games come down who makes the last or who makes the first mistake. But it feels like who's going to make the last mistake.
Last year, these two teams played to an overtime finish that you saw back in the open, with BR winning 15-13. Handoff to Jufre on first down, and Jufre inside the 20 up to the 18. Robert Jufre replacing Bryce Shaw. Going up for about a 4-yard pickup. As we mentioned, the very banged-up BR Trojans football team after their sectional final loss to the King Philip Warriors. 2nd and 5. Dan Taylor lined up on the near side for a receiver. Looking downfield, that one is caught by Dan Taylor, who takes this one near the end zone up to the 1.
Nice quick little out right there. Actually, a comeback from Dan Taylor. It was a soft zone that Brockton was running, and right in front of his defensive back. Got some extra yards after the catch right there. Gets down to about the 2-yard line. Now, this is normally where you see Bryce Shaw, but, we've yet to see a Bryce Shaw sighting today. So you might have to look out for either Devontae Graves or Robert Jufre to run this one in.
Off the 18-yard pickup. Now with about 3 minutes to go in the first quarter, BR inside Brockton red zone territory and right on the doorsteps of a touchdown. Committed in motion. Handoff to Devontae Graves, pushing towards the goal line. Does he have enough? BR thinks they do.
It's going to be just a yard shy, I believe. Not even.
Corey Sullivan, a perfect candidate for diving right for the goal line. Did that once in the final matchup against King Philip. Also did against Dartmouth. BR, very high-powered offense recently. Sullivan is going to get BR on the scoreboard, and there is a flag.
It's going to be offside on Brockton, so they're going to turn this. They're going to decline this, and it's going to stand as a good touchdown.
So a 1-yard push for the senior quarterback puts BR on the scoreboard, 6-0.
Take a look at the replay right here. This is really just a battle of the uglies up front, and Corey Sullivan getting that second push from his fullback and running back there to get into the end zone and give Bridgewater-Raynham a 6-0 lead.
Corey Sullivan's had at least one touchdown in his last 7 games coming into this matchup against the Brockton Boxers dating back to September. Had 5 touchdowns in the postseason. Over 500 yards passing. Thomas Fayon for the PAT. Flags everywhere as Dan Taylor trying to make something out of nothing. Gets wrapped up and taken out of bounds.
That's going to be on Brockton. Looks like Bridgewater-Raynham's going to get another shot at the extra point. That's what it is. Half the distance to the goal. So Bridgewater-Raynham gets another shot at the extra point.
Corey Sullivan with the helmet back on, so they may try and go for the 2 and try and push this out to an 8-point lead early on.
Yeah, why not? You got about 1.5 yards to go. Might as well try and go for the 2.
And Mad Dog, these are the mistakes that Brockton ends up shooting themselves in the foot on. We talk about the Taunton game, but this has really been an all-year situation.
5 penalties for 35 yards lost last game for the Boxers. It's really been all year. We saw a couple of unsportsmanlike conducts in the Needham game. Those went both ways in that game as it got a little testy later in that contest. There's been false starts, offsides, offensive pass interferences. Not a lot of discipline for this team. They've just been, the 3 wins they've had, they've been able to score more points than the other team, regardless of the penalties.
2 of those wins against Big 3 opposition, New Bedford and Durfee. Heard Mad Dog talk about earlier, a very difficult schedule for Peter Colombo and the Brockton Boxers. They come out and they play their best, but this has just been an off year. But looking forward to the future, the Brockton Boxers freshman team finished 11-0, 2 wins over the BR Trojans freshman team. So certainly future looking a little brighter for the Boxers.
Brockton had a lot of hope to start the season, traveled up to Lexington to face the Minutemen. Their starting senior quarterback going to BC on a baseball scholarship, and they're trying to recruit him to play quarterback for the BC Eagles at football, and he's leaning towards baseball, but he was an incredible athlete. He ran for 250 yards, threw for another 360, and that game got out of hand quick.
Devontae Graves going for 2. Really close, and he gets the 2. Devontae Graves caps off the scoring drive with a 2-point conversion. Trojans up 8-0. Once again, some words being exchanged on both sides. That's the Corey Sullivan 1-yard QB sneak.
It's going to be an interesting drive here for Brockton to see how they're going to respond here. They really can't afford many dumb penalties or any dumb penalties on this drive. And I know it's going to sound so obvious, but you can't turn the ball over. I mean, they've been able to move this ball relatively effective on this BR defense. And if they can keep doing it, it's going to be a close game. But if they're going to keep making these mental mistakes and turning the ball over, then it's not going to really bode well for the Boxers.
Brockton did have a miscommunication on the last offensive drive. Rosenpierre let the ball go wrap his arms. Thomas Day with a strong kick up to the 3. This is going to be taken by Jalen Cundiff. And Cundiff is going to get up to the 23-yard line, maybe up to the 22 rather. Actually 27, sorry.
Cundiff's got that big playability as well. You saw in the open against Marshfield. 2 55-plus yard touchdown receptions for the senior co-captain of the Boxers.
Cundiff this season doing it all over the place. 157 rushing yards, 411 yards receiving, 6 touchdowns altogether.
Be interesting to see here if the Boxers try to air it out a little bit on this drive and try to use Jose Montero's arm, because that guy has a cannon for an arm.
Montero under center for the first time. Handoff, or actually it's going to be a QB keep for Montero, going to the near side up to the 30, up to the 35, taken down by Dan Taylor right around the 41. Good enough for a Boxers first down, about a 12-yard pickup.
It's one thing Brockton's done very well this season, finishing off runs, lowering the shoulder, taking the punishment to get the extra few yards. That's always been a staple of Peter Colombo's offense.
That looks like it was just a read option right there. Kept it himself. Good decision, getting to the sideline. Some open space, and gets the first down.
Receiver sent out to the far side. That's Cundiff. Here's a handoff to Pierre. Straight through the middle into BR territory up to the 45. And Brockton once again picking up steam.
Well, you see right there when Brockton's had some success running to the outside, and that's when you start to spread out that defense a little bit for Bridgewater-Raynham. So you can get to the sidelines, and you run it right up the middle. You take a look at the replay right there, and it's a good job. That's how you balance your offense on the ground. You know, going outside and going inside, you really have to make that defense guess.
Handoff to Pierre on first down again, and Pierre is just eating up the yards up to the 30.
It's actually Eddie Ferrer on the carry for Brockton. Uniforms, tough to read the numbers. A 3-6 versus a 1-6.
I don't even have a 3-6 on the roster. This is some sabotage here.
Aliens.
On first down, he gets the handoff again inside the 30, maybe for a 1-yard pickup.
Yeah, Ferrer's got the bigger body. He's got a lot of sneaky speed. He can turn on the jets, but he takes a lot of punishment and opens a lot of holes by virtue. He's a bigger, broader shoulders that he can really spread some linemen out.
You've seen the running back to Brockton. You go back to Edmund Kelsey a couple of years ago. He had that really broad style that could take down 2 or 3 people as he's charging through the middle of the field. So Ferrer and Goncalves in the backfield on second down. Pass out to Cundiff to the far side, and Cundiff will get about a 3-yard pickup. Make it third and about 6.
Time expires on the first quarter. Sloppy one.
Very sloppy first quarter on both sides of the ball. Still Corey Sullivan with a 1-yard pickup to give BR the 8-0 lead. Brockton driving right now. We're going to send it down once again to newbie Rateau.
Guys, I'm here with the head coach, freshman football team head coach Scanlon Given.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well.
Undefeated season. I'm just kind of give your thoughts on
Incredible group, and I mean they put the work in the summertime. They came together. You know, we rounded them up from the middle schools, and they really bonded. For a group of kids that hadn't played together before, they really became family. They worked hard, and they showed what the young men in the city can do if they work together.
What type of things should we look forward to in the next couple of years? I assume they'll be moving up to JV and varsity and so forth. What type of things should we look forward to on the varsity in the next few years?
Absolutely. We had a really physical, hard-hitting football team. We didn't really trick anybody. We just lined up. We came right at them. And I think that's the style that we want to set going forward. So we just want to come after everybody, play hard-nosed football, offense, defense, special teams. Definitely a great group, and a lot of credit to my assistant coaches as well, most of which are former Brockton High School football players, that volunteer their time, and they did a great job coaching the kids.
What's the toughest part kind of in the beginning during training camp? Is it just teaching them the game of football, or just teach them discipline?
Definitely, just the basics. We get a lot of kids who have never played football before. Freshman year, we always tell them it's a great time to try it for the first time. And it can be good and bad, where you get kids who never played before, they don't have any bad habits, so we're able to teach them the proper way. And a lot of great first-year players this year that I think will really develop in their next couple years and help the varsity team.
Well, good luck next year. Congratulations.
All right, thank you, Coach.
That's you guys.
Thank you very much. Once again, congratulations to the Brockton freshman football team. Undefeated, beat BR twice, and a very well-disciplined football team, obviously, with 11 consecutive wins, so congratulations to them.
I'm starting to think tossing down to newbies bad luck for the Boxer offense last time. He was interviewing the cheerleaders, and Brockton fumbled. BR took over. This time, It was going to be a fumble, but a flag was thrown. I think it was a false start on the Boxers, so they're backed up 3rd and long.
3rd and 13. Montero set back to pass, looking downfield. That one is tipped away by Joey D'Amelia, intended for Jalen Cundiff.
It looks like that was D'Amelia and Taylor on the bracket coverage right there. We'll take a look at the replay, and good job breaking up the pass right there. Almost with a one-handed interception.
Montero thought he saw a hole. BR secondary closed that hole very, very quickly, and it turned into throwing into double coverage.
So now the Boxers face that unique part of the field right around the 35-yard line, too close to really punt it. Too far for a field goal, so the Boxers are going to go for it on 4th down here in the 2nd quarter.
Would not surprise me to see a Jose Montero pooch punt here.
Timeout taken by Brockton.
Yeah, we've seen that a few times earlier this year, guys. Jose Montero Jr. quick snaps, drop kick, and ends up going to about the 5-yard line. A successful punter for a starting quarterback.
Yeah, of course, we've seen our fair share of that. Of course, at Bridgewater State, Stevie D'Amelia, the old BR quarterback, is also the quarterback for the Bears and the punter for the Bears. So
it's interesting. The Brockton punter, Bobby Mead, last week only a 33-yard average. So if you take it from here, he could nail him down within the 5-yard line if he were to back up far enough.
yeah, what really throws a wrench into this is that it's a 4th and 13. So if it was a 4th and short, you really had an open playbook, but on a long down and distance to go here, you're limited in what you can really choose.
Trojans defensively setting up for a 4th down play here by the Brockton Boxers. On 4th down, Montero out of the shotgun. Looking downfield, a floater. That one is going to be caught out of bounds or incomplete.
Take a look in the replay right here. Looks like a little bit of a floater, and that's the only option you really had there. That was a good attempt right there, but the football field's only 53 yards wide. They needed it to be 54 at that time.
I think that was an overthrown pass. It was almost a 2-on-1 Brockton wide receiver to be our cornerback. If he hit that first receiver, the one underneath, you could turn that back inside, easily have the 1st down and more.
That was a good job from Mike Wilder there on the coverage, forcing that throw.
Michael Wilder has been a thorn in other teams' side, really coming close to blocking some punts all season long. Jufre and Graves in the backfield. On 1st down, pitch to Graves. Gonna try and go straight through the middle of the Brockton defense. Picks up about a yard or so. Should bring up a 2nd and about 9 or 8.
It looks like Devontae Graves, well, the play was, they wanted to go to the outside, but he cut it to the middle pretty quick right there. So I don't know if that was by design or if he saw something on the outside and said that he might have had a better opportunity going up the middle.
Devontae Graves over 1,000 yards rushing this season, averaging about 150 yards a game, missed 3 games in the 2017 campaign. 2nd and 8. Sullivan looking downfield. That is caught by Joey D'Amelia, almost tripping himself up, but still on his feet inside the 10 for another BR touchdown.
Yeah, it was just a blown coverage right there from the Boxers, just slipped behind the secondary. We'll take a look at the replay in a second there, but that was just wide open. Just someone completely forgot about him.
There's a little hold back there behind the line of scrimmage for BR, but the refs didn't see enough to call it. And then just blown secondary coverage for the Boxers.
Joey D'Amelia, a 65-yard reception. And just like that, it's 14-0. Dan Barron gonna take a timeout here. Of course, with only 10 people on the field, that could be a little difficult for the special teams unit.
Try it anyways.
With the shot, it's like Madden.
Unless the man missing was the kicker.
It's just a holder.
The holder.
You can do a drop kick. Just snap it right to the kicker. But Tommy Fay, you can do a drop kick. Doug Flutie did it.
I mean, if Doug Flutie can do it, then anybody can do it. All right, we think we have everybody in place now for a PAT try. For Thomas Fay, the kicker for the BR Trojans, who had a good run of luck as far as place kicker goes. George Lampros last year. And Thomas Fay will make it 15-0.
Brockton's got to convert on the next drive. If they go into halftime down 2 touchdowns, I mean, it's hard to motivate high school kids anyway, especially for a game in which they know means nothing to any playoff hopes that might have happened. You go into halftime down two scores, and this one could get ugly in the second half.
Yeah, that's really the unfortunate part about the new playoff system that the MIAA put in, is it really takes away the meaning of Thanksgiving now. Of course, the year before this playoff system went into effect, I think there was about 120 Thanksgiving Day games on Eastern Mass, and I'm pretty sure only about 5 or 6 of them had any playoff implications that year. So you're really just playing for pride at this point. And even though this is the 7th year of the rivalry or 8th year of the rivalry, you really don't have. It's not really that strong. It's not really that old. It's it's not like a Woburn or Winchester or Boston English or Boston Latin. So there really isn't much history behind these two. So I'm not saying that they don't play for pride, but you really need a lot of that time to really get that energy and the emotion going in that rivalry.
And that being said, that last year before the new playoff format, Thanksgiving decided whether the Brockton Boxers got into the playoffs or not. BR eliminated them in that game.
And of course, these two teams actually played in the expanded playoff format back in 2015. As Fay with another low-lying kick, as he's typically done recently. This is going to be picked up by Shannon Thomas. And Thomas is going to get stuffed up to the 26, 27-yard line. That's where Jose Montero and this Brockton offense is going to come back out.
It's a good call by that third line of the Boxers special teams right there. We've seen more than a few times this season someone try to pick up that ball that isn't used to returning kicks, fumble it away, and the other team comes right down, pounces on the loose garbage, and Brockton creating a turnover.
Yeah, that's what you kind of see in that squib kick. That's kind of half the purpose of it. You want the second line or the first line of blockers. You want them to try and pick up the ball. And he wanted to at first, and he said, I'm going to let someone with better hands do this for me.
Rosenpierre on the first down carry. He's going to get stopped right around the line of scrimmage. Maybe a loss of 1 on the play. But Matt, you brought up the fact that this is a very important drive for this Brockton Boxers offense. You talk about BR defense and offense coming out very angry after the way they lost the game a couple weeks ago. So maybe a Brockton Boxers team deflated emotionally is not going to be good for the City of Champions.
Brockton trying to ride the coattails of the state champion soccer team. How much success they're going to have, we have yet to find out.
Montero on play action. Looking downfield, but he's going to get taken down right around the 20.
He had Paul Mitchell open in the middle of the field right at the BR logo. And Mitchell put his arm up in the air, throw to me, throw to me, throw to me, and
yeah, it looks like he was ready to cock back and unload that one, but he was going to get absolutely lit up if he tried that. I don't know if he was even going to get the ball off or get the throw off, but I guess it was the safe move at that point. He decided to bring it back and bring up a 3rd and 17, but I was going to say I wouldn't be surprised if Brockton tried to open up the offense here. And I think going forward they're going to have to start doing that more, start incorporating that pass there to keep that BR defense a little bit more honest.
That's the perfect example of why risk your body for a game in which doesn't mean anything. Why risk your health and your happiness and possibly your college career if it gets bad enough.
Montero playing out of the gun on 3rd down. Pierre flanked out on his left. Montero running for his life. Ball is loose. Picked up. Trojans will score.
Incomplete.
But actually, the ball was down. I think he was actually down before it.
No, his arm was coming forward.
Incomplete pass.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the replay, but his arm was clearly coming forward. We'll take a look right here. I mean, there's really no debate. That arm was clearly coming forward. Yeah.
That was worth a shot.
Yeah.
Somebody say tuck rule?
And that's actually going to bode well for the Boxers, because even if it wasn't, take another look here, but even if it was, of course, that was a scoop and score for Bridgewater-Raynham. Now Brockton has the opportunity to punt it. His knee may have been down there, but I mean, it would have lost about maybe another 5 or so yards.
I would almost argue intentional grounding.
So Brockton will kick it away. Dan Taylor takes it from right around midfield.
His knee never touched the ground.
And Dan Taylor rolled down at the 46-47, and Matt, I agree with you. I think he got rolled up, and I think his knee actually got covered up.
Well, I'm going to take a look at his elbow here, because the elbow also does count as down.
Yep.
That's close.
I don't think that
close.
elbow touched. You could rule forward progress was stopped.
Yes, you could also argue that as well.
On a quick whistle, but no limb was down.
You know, Mad Dog, going back to your point about, you know, trying to save your body here, and I think that's one of the biggest reasons why we're not seeing Bryce Shaw here today. Of course, they could have some influence from Navy to tell him not to play, because, of course, Bryce Shaw, the naval commit, going to play there next fall, so might have said don't bother putting him into this game.
William Lombard on first down.
Well, he took
Picks
a good hit.
Gain of about 2 or 3.
I think there's more of a prerogative to really show what you've got on defense than on offense. You want to make that big hit. You want to make the show-stopping play on defense for both sides. Whereas offense, there's a lot more danger involved, trying to catch a passer, looking upfield, and trying to launch a bomb.
Right, exactly.
Sullivan playing out of the gun now.
Well, what
Lombard
is this?
And D'Amelia lined up on the near side. Some unique formations from Dan Buron.
That is, that's going to be a timeout by Brockton. That was just, that's like, that was confusing there. That's like a soup sandwich. You ever try to put soup in a sandwich? That's exactly what you got. It just
spaghetti taco.
Yeah. There's a mess, but you know we're seeing Buron here taking some weird formations here, some unique motions that they have. Look at everyone on the left side of the center.
You got the mismatch right there, with only a couple of defensive backs right there. You've got a lot of open space on the near side. Good thing Brockton called that timeout, or this one could have been up 3 scores.
I had to take a picture of that play. Typically, we're used to seeing the split receiver set, the I formation, the power I formation. Now, this is a little more traditional for VR football. Joey D'Amelia comes to the near side, and CCO will move around as well.
Maybe a run right.
Hand out to Jouffre, and it is a run to the right side. Robert Jouffre still on his feet, just shy of the first down, taken out by number 3, Josh Bortis.
Yeah, he got stopped right away. Nice tackle there from Bortis.
Move of the day right there, the little fake pitch out, and then quickly handing off to Jouffre.
Yeah, we've seen that a few times now from the Trojans' offense, a little quick or fake to Devontae Graves, and then hand it off to Bryce Shaw. But
and it fakes out the Brockton defense as it's been successful, because they start moving to the outside to try to stop Graves, and Jouffre goes right up the gut.
So off the 5-yard pickup brings up a 3rd and 2. Time still winding down to 6:23 left in the first half. Dan Taylor on the near side, Jouffre and Graves in the backfield. Hand out to Devontae Graves. First down, like almost being shy of a cannon, up to the 32.
I think it's safe to say that ankle is feeling just fine now for Devontae Graves.
Graves ran for 318 against Barnstable in the OCL finale a few weeks ago. Had 207 against Natick in the D2 South semifinal. Split receiver look again for the Trojans. Boxer sending 4 here. And Sullivan going to be passing this time. That pass is complete to Jeff CCO, wrapped up at the 30-yard line. CCO's become Corey Sullivan's favorite target this season.
Yeah, and the great thing is, I'm pretty sure Jeff CCO was a junior, so you get to see another year of CCO at the regional. But those two have found some chemistry, especially on deep passes.
CCO a junior, and Corey Sullivan is a senior. Be a 2-yard pickup for the two. Brings up a 2nd and 8.
Healthy amount of impact players for the Trojans are seniors this year.
Hand off to Graves on 2nd down. And he's going to get stopped. Coming up at the half, we're going to have the Battle of the Bands. Of course, BR and Brockton putting their bands on the field. I don't know if we can actually call it a Battle of the Bands after last year's situation. So we'll just call it a halftime performance.
Yeah, John, you really can't bring that up. I know that you try to bring that up, and some people don't take too kind to it.
Putting my money on Brockton's band.
We'll get to BR's marching band, who had a very good month of November coming up. Of course, Brockton, a award-winning marching band, as many people know. CCO on the far side on 3rd down. Sullivan looking deep. That pass is caught to Jeff CCO at the 19-yard line. Good enough for another Trojans 1st down.
Threading the needle with some mustard on it.
Yeah, that was some good coverage right there. Double coverage there from the Brockton boxes, but just threw it where only his receiver could catch it. Brings up another red zone possession here for the Trojans.
And we've seen some of those passes where it's only where CCO can grab it, be it really high or a really tight hole between two receivers. But CCO, give credit to him, he puts his arms out and reaches right for the ball.
Yeah, and an excellent throw right there from Corey Sullivan, putting it where only CCO could get it. And CCO know that he had 2 guys on him. Nice job fighting him off and getting that 1st down, holding on.
Clock continues to wind down in the 1st half. Handoff to Devontae Graves on 1st down. Bounces off of Jufrey. And manages to make something out of nothing up to the 17 or 18-yard line, should be.
Yeah, Matt, and going back to the point you made a couple plays ago, a lot of impact players for the Trojans are seniors. So I wonder, depending on the score and how this game goes, we're going to see Jules Wiggins, who's the backup quarterback for the Trojans, who we'll most likely see next year.
See Devontae Graves limping off, and that has been a familiar sight over the past couple of games.
Looks like he might have retweaked that ankle that he injured originally in that Natick semifinal game.
The point about backup quarterbacks, impact players, applies to Brockton as well. Last week against Taunton, they were going to start Michael Norman at quarterback, the junior.
Corey Sullivan with an 18-yard strike to Joey D'Amelia, right over 2 defenders' heads.
That was a beautiful throw right there from Corey Sullivan. And a little tricky catch right here from D'Amelia. We'll take a look at the replay. There's an excellent throw, perfectly placed. Had to bobble it up a little bit, and right in there in the end zone for the 18-yard touchdown pass.
2nd touchdown of the day for Joey D'Amelia. 3rd touchdown of the day for Corey Sullivan. We're still in the 1st half. With the Trojans now up 21-0, and Faye coming on for the PAT.
Brockton was going to start Michael Norman at quarterback last week. The junior is going to be the starter for Brockton next year. He tweaked his shoulder in practice, so they held him out. We might see him in the 2nd half today. We might not. They have yet to decide who Brockton is going to play at quarterback in the 2nd half.
And Matt, you mentioned the Brockton soccer team. Brockton Boxers won their first state title, beating Long Meadow 5-3. Boxers trailed at the half 2-0. Leonardo Teixeira had a hat trick with 2 assists, as this was the first state title in any sport over at Brockton the past 15 years. Herminio Furtado told the Brockton Enterprise that he thought the team had the talent to go all the way and that the soccer team will continue the tradition as the city of champions. And we talked about this before, the fact that soccer is the prime sport in Brockton right now.
Absolutely. There was an after-school lunch type deal, and Coach Furtado said the goals, this was after the South Sectional final win against Needham. Coach Furtado said, the goal's already been accomplished. The thing we set out to do at the beginning of the year was win the South Sectional title. We've done that. That being said, the job's not done. We can do this. We're the best team in the state. actually ranked 7th in the country now that they've won the state title. And they were ultimately able to do it against Longmeadow. Not doing much in the first half of that game. They were down 2-0 going into the break and turning it on 5 goals in 40 minutes, an astounding second half in which Brockton just completely dominated the play to take the title, and Longmeadow had no answer when Brockton started clicking on all cylinders.
One of the most dangerous leads in any sport is a 2-0 lead, because that's really when you start to play more defensively, and then it's kind of one of those you flip the switch, and Longmeadow just couldn't figure it out. And for a 5-goal explosion from Brockton.
You know, Teixeira once again a hat trick, 2 assists, had a part in every goal that the Boxers scored. As the Boxers are going to start out from their own 40.
And the state champion soccer team has 2 floats in the Brockton Holiday Parade, and a lot of celebration, a lot of anticipation going into the Longmeadow game. The Pepper Elliott City Hall, they were ferried around the town, different events, restaurants hosting them for free meals, and signs up around the town, go Boxers, stuff like that. And now the celebration's on for Herminio Furtado and the Boxers.
Brockton once again shooting themselves in the foot. Another penalty against the Boxers to start out. And I don't think they've had 1st and 10 really to start out on offense this entire game.
We've had 1 completed pass. Eddie Ferreira had some success on the run game. Rosenpierre's been eating up the Trojans line, but he hasn't gotten that many looks so far.
Getting back to that video that you saw from the soccer team winning the state championship, special thanks to Spark Sports and Eamon Convoy.
Look at that right there. Already 4. Well, they took it down, but it was 4 penalties for 35 yards. Yeah, well, I'm circling the turkeys just so you all know what it is. But 4 penalties for 35 yards. And
look at those falling leaves.
Montero on first down is going to get the first down and taken down at the 37, 38 yard line. Pick up a 14. Thank goodness we had some issues so we couldn't see a circle, the awkwardly placed circle over a turkey.
Yeah, it was a poorly timed circle anyways.
Boxers looking to score before the end of this first half because the Trojans are going to get the ball to open up the second half, so this thing could really get away from the Brockton Boxers before we're all said and done here, as Jalen Cundiff's going to get the handoff, and Cundiff will get the first down and then some into BR territory up to the 34.
It's another one of the Boxers' favorite plays this season, the end-around kind of jet sweep type deal with Jalen Cundiff coming off the edge.
That's a play you see very often with Marshfield and Lou Silva. Of course, this is his final year at the helm of Marshfield Rams. But yeah, this is what you needed for Brockton. 2 big plays right here that didn't really take up much time, and you're already in Bridgewater-Raynham territory to try and get some points back on the board.
Just about a 25-yard pickup for Cundiff.
So that was the Boxers' 8th first down of the game.
By sheer coincidence, we were in Marshfield for Lou Silva's final home game in Marshfield. The Brockton Boxers losing that game 37-35 in the consolation bracket of the MIAA's quote-unquote playoff format. It was almost like a celebration of life funeral type deal. Everywhere in the stands, people talking about, oh my God, I remember in 1980 when he did this, in 1991 when they won the state title, this, that, and the other thing, all these accomplishments over the years, and all the alumni were there, and packed house to see Lou Silva, who's of course been at the helm for 37 years down in Marshfield.
Of course, Marshfield taking on Duxbury today in their Thanksgiving Day rivalry.
There's still a lot of people angry that Carver High School football, the fact that Lou Silva is getting, for lack of a better term, you can say he's getting pushed out of his job over at Marshfield. And some people think that he got
That was a
wronged.
weird situation. He was fired, and then he appealed it, and he won the appeal, and then immediately announced that he's retiring after the season.
Or given the option to either retire or just get thrown out. But we'll save that for another time. On first down, Montero with a handoff to Pierre. Gonna get a game about 4 or 5 on the play, up to the 32, inside of 2:20 left to go in the first half.
Talking about different Thanksgiving Day matchups, the MIAA has tried to rectify the fact that this game means absolutely nothing. Even if the team is going to the Super Bowl, by having some games at Fenway Park. They have 4 Thanksgiving games at Fenway Park, 2 on Wednesday night and 2 on Thursday. BC High usually one of those teams against Catholic Memorial. Severian's in there. This year, D1 and D2 South, Hingham in that mix as well.
Playing Situate, yeah, that's right. They played last night at Fenway Park, I believe.
Here, pushed out right around the line of scrimmage, and high school. We had BC High and Catholic Memorial play on Tuesday night, so high school football trying to make an appearance here during Thanksgiving week, maybe something that people can plan around, maybe get the attendance numbers to go up here, because even though we have a sellout here, there are some schools that have a difficult time getting people to come in and spend Thanksgiving morning at a high school football field.
And it would have been a great game to be at with BC High. I can't draw a blank on the opponent, but when they lost on a Hail Mary in the playoffs, it was one of the biggest upsets we've seen in the playoffs.
Division I, a very difficult season for them. Only, I think, 3 teams over 500. As that pass is going to be complete and inside the 5 to the end zone.
Dimitri Doranville putting the Boxers.
Say he's going to be tackled around the 2 or 3 yard line.
And watch Montero Jr. right there. He's going to bobble that ball right there. And then he's going to escape the tackle right there. Picks up a block. Finds Doranville, the senior co-captain, over the middle. And nobody's stopping the big guy without taking a bruise.
Dimitri Doranville puts the Boxers on the scoreboard as the PAT is going to be good.
I never really saw a sign from the officials for the touchdown. I saw them all going to the 2 yard line, so I thought that's where they said he was tackled, but I've been wrong before, and I'm wrong again.
Another day, another wrong thought by Brian Berard.
It happens.
As we take another look back at the impressive catch and run by Dimitri Doranville, who doesn't exactly have the wide receiver speed.
It's right there that he was flipped in the air over the goal line. The officials weren't really in the area, and there was the sign right at the end there. It was a quick arms up, arms down type deal.
Yeah, that's one of those players that he starts running at you, and you're just kind of praying for dear life that you don't get destroyed.
Doranville's a fairly big presence for the Boxers. He plays defensive line, sometimes lining up at middle linebacker, but also as a heavy-set tight end. And he can really, really lower some punishment on his opponents.
More importantly, it closes the gap a little bit into the Trojans' lead here, as that is going to go off of Taylor's leg, actually Lombard's leg, up to the 29.
This is dangerous for the Brockton Boxers. BR has a lot of time, as we saw in their last drive. It doesn't take much for the BR offense to get clicking, and they've had a lot of early successes in the passing game, especially deep with Siccio and D'Amelia. And Sullivan's got a pretty good cannon.
Corey Sullivan over 260 yards passing against the Warriors. As we mentioned, 517 yards in this postseason, 5 touchdowns, 33 of 59 passing for a football team in the BR Trojans that's very run reliant. Sullivan on first down, looking for D'Amelia. That one is complete to the 35, and D'Amelia will get pushed out.
If you're the Boxers, you got to keep him in bounds. There are 2 Boxers in the area. They just let D'Amelia run to the sideline.
We'll take a look at the replay. It looks like D'Amelia actually wanted to cut this one up the field, and I think he realized that he had to get out of bounds to stop the clock and preserve the timeouts. And
you got Dan Buron right there that was like probably screaming, "Get out of bounds, get out of bounds." That play only taking 7 seconds off the clock.
Nate DeRolis on the push out on D'Amelia. Make it a 2nd and 5, minute 20 remaining in the first half. Sullivan passing again. That one is going to be knocked down.
And with a 3rd and 5 here for the Trojans, take a look at the replay.
Sonny Okunlola.
Sonny Okunlola, one of the impact players for the Boxers. Also a starting member of the Brockton High boys basketball team.
So Okunlola helping out the Boxers' chances here. 3rd and 5, a minute 14 left to go in the first half. Sullivan looking downfield again. That one is going to be caught still behind the first down marker, though, to Dan Taylor.
BR is going to burn a timeout here.
That's going to be a Brockton timeout.
Boxer timeout.
Yeah, might as well. It's 4th down.
Conserve the clock a little bit, 1:07 left.
Because Bridgewater-Raynham's going to have to punt it here. Might as well take as much time as you possibly can.
If I'm BR, I might go for this. 4th and 1, you've had a lot of success with Graves.
Man, looks like Corey Sullivan's talking to Coach Bjorn right now. I think Coach Bjorn's going to wait for the back judge to raise his hand, and he'll probably take his own timeout.
Well, we've seen this before where Sullivan will go out to the field, get the offense all set up, trying to get the Boxers to jump offside or maybe get a false start penalty. I have to wonder if that's what Dan Barron's thinking about right now.
The Boxers are very susceptible to that attack. They've fell for it more than a few times this season.
Lombard, Giuffre, and D'Amelia in the backfield. Hard count. Sullivan pushing forward. He may be very close to that first down marker.
That's really going to
depend on the spot. Looks like it's going to be 2.5 lengths short.
So Brockton,
they're going to
very
bring out
good
the
defensive
chains.
stand, regardless of whether it's the first down or not.
Let's see, so my official call, 2.5 lengths.
All right, let's see. Let's see.
He got it by 2.5 lengths.
I don't know. That might have been about 4 or 5. I would have pounded the over on that. Now, usually when you see a quarterback sneak, it's one of those, it's a quick snap, so that way the defensive line isn't going to have enough time to really get set up, and your offensive line has enough time to really push them back, but you got to catch them by surprise a little bit there. So
Corey Sullivan, the Trojans, get a new set it down. See Sullivan throwing on first down. That is complete to Dan Taylor, ripped down by Taylor up to the 45.
So Brockton was bringing some pressure off the edge there, and the offensive line of the Trojans did a great job of picking it up.
Here's the pressure right there.
I wonder if Sullivan's going to spike it here, try and stop the clock, and he does, and almost takes out a couple legs. And this is something that we noticed about Corey Sullivan. When he spikes the ball, he tries to imitate Rob Gronkowski and almost spike it through the turf.
Yeah, it's quite. I mean, he's calmed it down, in the King Philip game and here today. But take a look and. Yeah, I forget what game it was.
He burns an extra second by lifting his arm up over his shoulder.
He just wants to make sure it really gets to the ground.
It's going to be a dent in the ground soon.
Wants to make sure everybody knows that he's spiking the ball.
3 receivers set for the Trojans on 2nd down and 10, 46 seconds left to go in the first half. Pass tipped away at
almost jumping the route.
Very last second there by Shannon Thomas. Or rather, David Belsius.
Belsius.
Ah.
Close.
We're learning some things today, Brian.
Yeah, you learn something new every day.
Belsius. Big names for the Boxers.
I'll still have to say, though, that I think my favorite football name that I ran across this year was, I believe he played for either Worcester State or Western Connecticut State. He was the right guard. It was Josh Ponce de Leon. Probably my favorite name I ran into this year.
On 3rd down, Sullivan rolling to his left. That pass is complete to D'Amelia on the sideline. And the clock is going to stop at 34 seconds.
Well, stop to reset the chains. I'm not sure if he got out of bounds. Take another look at the replay. If Sullivan wanted to run for first down, it looks like he could have gotten it.
That 4th down timeout for Brockton coming back to bite him.
Another chance here for the Trojans to double dip here, get a touchdown here potentially, or a field goal, and maybe score on the next drive to open up the second half and be a happy turkey day for the Trojans in the third quarter.
Let's just be honest. We're all glad that the game has cleaned up a little bit from the first couple of drives.
Very atrocious first quarter now. First down, 34 seconds to go. Sullivan is going to lose the ball. Taken down by Dimitri Dorenville, and
Brockton's got it.
I wonder if Corey Sullivan was trying to throw that ball forward just to get away with it or get rid of it. We'll take a look at the replay right here. I don't think he was.
I think he was trying to tuck it into his arm.
Well, that's going to be huge for the Boxers as you have about a 50-yard field here and only 25 seconds. But we've seen time and time again over this season, Montero has really hooked up with Elby on these deep passes, and they can also go to Paul Mitchell for some of these deep passes. So Brockton, they can easily put up some points right here before the half.
Even if you end up going for the 3, the kicking game of the Brockton Boxers is very impressive as well. In warm-ups, we saw 25, 27-yard field goals going through the uprights with ease. Montero and the Brockton offense back out on the field, tipped, and that is going to be complete inside Brockton territory.
Let's see if he can get this one.
Glenn.
Tejan Darty Glenn.
That's why we have you here.
It was Darty Glenn that caught a 49.5-yard reception late in, I forget which game it was exactly, but it was a 49.5-yard reception with 7 seconds left in the half. Brockton was able to punch it in for the touchdown, but he's got some skills as well, and he's the starting center of the basketball team.
Looks like that was Jaden Rosario with a nice assist there for the Trojans.
Good use of a basketball term.
Yeah, sure, we'll go with that.
Okay. So Brockton facing a second down, still 16 seconds left to go from the BR 42. 3 receivers lined up to the far side. Montero is going to throw this one. That is going to be complete.
So it'll be Cundiff on the far side.
Jalen Cundiff riding the sideline, out of bounds, right around the 17-yard line or so.
We saw Bridgewater-Raynham brought pressure up the middle, and that was probably the guy who was responsible for Cundiff coming out of the backfield, which is why he was wide open. And Brockton did a great job of picking up the blitz up the middle, and it's a huge gain for the Boxers into the red zone.
So now you got 6 seconds. Do you try to take a quick shot, or do you take the points?
I feel like at this point, the field, it's too long of a field to try and go for it. We'll go for the touchdown here, but then again, with the way that the score is right now, you might as well try. But I just feel like at this point of the field, it's a little bit too long to try and get a second play, and if it doesn't work.
5 receivers set, no extra protection for Montero Jr.
Boxers going for it here with 6 seconds left. Montero, all the time in the world here, going to get out of the pocket, and that's going to go well
out
over
of the back
head
of the end zone of Darty Glenn.
He had him wide open, too, in the back of the end zone.
So Brockton fixing some issues that they had in that first half, but nevertheless still down 22-7, Brian. The BR offense can be summed up with 2 names, Corey Sullivan and Joey D'Amelio.
Yeah, I mean, those two have really been hooking up really nicely, and Devontae Graves was doing well until he went out with his ankle injury yet again, but you know, it was a really sloppy start to this game. 3 turnovers on the first 3 drives, so just penalties left and right. So the game started to clean it up. Like I said, you know, it's probably that 10 a.m. start. You know, it gets you know, you're not used to starting right now. But I'm glad that they finally cleaned it up and started playing a better football game. But, you know, for Bridgewater-Raynham, that they've used that balanced attack, and it's been working for them so well. And you've seen some strange formations, some strange motions that they've used, but they've since kind of gone back to their old offensive ways that we've seen in years past.
And the defense for the Boxers really improving in the later part of that first half. The big stop by Sonny Okunlola, Dimitri Dorenville getting his hand in on a couple plays. This defense, if they fix some things, they can make this a ball game in the second half, Matt.
They've started applying some pressure on Corey Sullivan, which is going to turn into really the key to the second half for Brockton. If they're able to get more pressure on Sullivan, make him rush some passes, create some turnovers, the offense will start to get into it a little bit more, and Brockton will be able to catch up.
All right, so 22-7 is our score at the half, as you see the Brockton marching band coming out to the field We are at the half on Thanksgiving morning.
Mark time, march! Forward, march!
Back here at Bridgewater-Raynham Regional High School, John Luck, Brian Berard, and Matt Nelson. You just enjoyed the halftime performances by both the Brockton Band and the BR Marching Band. And we talked earlier about how Brockton has won awards across the state and even gone to competition around the country. The BR Marching Band actually were invited to Washington, D.C. to perform in the Parade of Heroes event this Veterans Day weekend. The 37-member group performed with other marching bands at the Lincoln Memorial, the Air Force Memorial, the World War II Memorial, and actually Bridgewater Bus Company, Lucini Bus Lines, donated a bus for the band to travel in. Cameron Shave was selected to play taps during the wreath laying at the World War II Memorial as students visited different sites around the D.C. area. A great honor for a marching band that's really up and coming ever since the budget cuts from about 13 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, the BR band was non-existent several years ago, and every year they've slowly but surely have built up their numbers. I think their first year they brought it back, they had about 9 members. This year they have 37. And a pretty cool honor that you get to go down to Washington, D.C. And, of course, thank you to the Lucini Bus Lines for donating a bus for them to get down there. So it's a pretty cool honor for the marching band.
An up-and-coming program that continues to build as far as members go. As you mentioned, 9 members. We used to watch every Thanksgiving. Brockton went from about the 10-yard line to the 10-yard line. BR came out and went from about the 46 to the 47-yard line this year. Really improving and just going to continue to go up. So 22-7 is our score here, getting back to the football field. And I guess when we talk about the BR offense, we obviously have to talk about Joey D'Amelia, 2 big-time receptions, including a 65-yard grab.
Yeah, I mean, it really has been, a Joey D'Amelia show today. And, some great throws from Corey Sullivan as well. We saw in that game against King Philip where he banged up his ankle. He really couldn't step into a lot of the throws, but today he's done a tremendous job of that, and Joey D'Amelia has done just a fantastic job receiving them and doing some nice catches and runs and getting a couple of touchdowns for the kid.
Meanwhile, the Brockton Boxers, Matt, we thought they were going to be down and out after BR went up 22-0, but then the Boxers got a touchdown. The defense really started to stand tall in the last couple minutes of that first half.
It's kind of reverse of what we've seen. Brockton really likes to start off strong, get a couple of scores, and then they start committing the penalties and breaking down and the turnovers. And this game, we saw 2 turnovers on their first 2 drives, numerous penalties, and finally starting to click about halfway through that second quarter and able to get a score on the board before the break.
Kick went out of bounds on the onside kick. Dan Bureau given the choice whether to accept the penalty or go for a re-kick here.
Going to go re-kick.
The Trojans kick returner Dan Taylor, who's done a bulk of the returning this season for BR, has gotten him probably about 25 to 30 yards on an average return with some good protection, Brian.
Yeah, this whole year, really, this offense, the special teams rather, for the Trojans have done a tremendous job of getting up consistently near the 30-yard line on all their kickoffs.
Max Tobon, the place kicker for the Boxers. And a high kick that's going to be pulled down by Kyle Duggan at his own 49-yard line. Some good heads-up awareness there by the BR Trojans.
When you try an onside kick, you want it to bounce around. You want to kick it low on the ground. Of course, it's got to travel 10 yards. Toba went to kick it high, easily handled by the Trojans, and they were able to quickly fall before being deheaded by the Boxers.
Corey Sullivan just under 100 yards passing in the first half. And a 65-yard reception to D'Amelia and a 18-yard reception to Joey D'Amelia. Also had a 1-yard QB keep. This time D'Amelia and Taylor line up on the near side. And up to William Lombard on the first play of the second half, and Lombard's going to get stopped for a loss. Devontae Graves started out in the first half. Had a few carries, also injured his ankle, so Dan Bureau maybe keeping Devontae Graves out, trying to help out the running back later on down the road.
Yeah, I really don't think you're going to see Devontae Graves for the rest of the game unless if you absolutely need him.
He doesn't have a helmet on right now on the field, so looks like his day will be complete.
I think that's what the second half is going to come down to. Brockton, BR, both senior-heavy teams. You want to get the younger guys in there, get them some real game experience before they go in to the much bigger roles next season.
Joey D'Amelia gets a reception right about to the original line of scrimmage, the 48-yard line. Maybe picked up an extra yard. Bring up a 3rd and 10 in the passing game of the BR Trojans. Gonna have to come out here, Brian. And you see number 13 playing in his final high school football game. And when we talk about Devontae Graves, obviously the running game has been very famous here at Bridgewater-Raynham. Some great running backs come through here. Devontae Graves is right up there as far as some of the best.
Yeah, he's kind of been kind of a different runner for the Trojans. Kind of has some speed, some shiftiness. Bridgewater-Raynham normally has those big-bodied running backs that try to bowl you over. But it even goes back to the days where you had Arcel Armstead kind of started with the shifty running backs.
Corey Sullivan slammed down by Dimitri Dorenville. And Dorenville has been a thorn in the BR side here today. Come up on offense with a reception and also on defense planting Corey Sullivan.
Was Dorenville with the only score for the Boxers today?
I don't know who was yelling at who there, but there was a lot of yelling going on with Dan Bureau and Corey Sullivan. I think both were directed at Corey Sullivan.
Yeah, Corey Sullivan not too happy with himself after that.
Jalen Cundiff awaiting this kick right around his own 20. Thomas Fay. Gonna take a BR roll to the 15.
Nice punt right there from Thomas Fay, pinning the Boxers inside their own 20. It's about an 85-yard field to start off their second half.
Got to air it out on the first set of downs here. Got to try to open up the field and set the tone for the first half for the second half rather, after stopping the Trojans from on their first drive of the half.
We saw Tayswan Glenn get involved at the end of that first half. Matt, I probably butchered that name, I'm guessing. Tajon. Well, I'll get right by the fourth quarter, I swear. But we saw
it's only the last reception that counts.
We saw the last few plays of that first half. Some different receivers getting in for the Boxers, and that may have to be where Peter Colombo is going to turn here, maybe mixing up a little bit.
We've seen a dramatic shift this season. The first, really, 8 weeks of the season, including that first week of the playoffs against Needham, the game plan, air the ball out. It was about 60-40 percentage-wise pass to run. Something we haven't seen from the Boxers in the last probably decade. They've always been power I formation, run right up the gut every single play, maybe attempt 3 or 4 passes a game. And this year it's been, like I said, 60-40% split pass to run. And then after that game against Needham, I don't know what happened, why the game plan changed, but it was back to the old ways. I formation, run right up the gut, mixing a few passes, but now I'd say it's probably 80-20 run to pass.
And to Dexter Cumberlander to make it 3rd and 1. When we talk about the BR secondary, Brian, the secondary has started to improve for the BR Trojans recently. It was more of a frontline defense that really stuck out for the Trojans. On 3rd down, straight up the middle, and the first down and then some for the quarterback, Montero. And let's send it down once again to Newbie Rateau. Newbie.
Thanks, guys. I was wandering around the bleachers, and guess what I found over here? I saw some of Brockton's best over here. Oh, my God, my turkey has flied off. First and foremost, what do you guys think about the turkey hat?
I love it. I think it's great. I think it looked better on me, though, but it's okay.
Yeah, that's just propaganda.
I think it's real colorful.
Yeah, listen, to be ultimate, if you guys didn't like it, I like it, ultimately. But first and foremost, here with Kinsley and Matt Cruz. So congratulations, guys. You guys did a great job. You're over at Brown. You're over at Bryant. Just kind of give your thoughts about, your first year playing freshman football at your respective schools.
I think it's a big change, especially the speed of the game is completely different from high school. But I think that Brockton High School and the football that we played over there definitely prepared us for that level. So I believe that it was pretty good, though.
For me, it was more the same. The speed of the game was crazy. I feel like Brockton High, just that mentality of working hard, being great, and trying to be the best you can be. It was easy to quickly assimilate into the speed of the game and get back to making the plays that we did in high school.
Last question. Let's talk about the importance of kind of knowing where your foundation is, right here in Brockton, and kind of taking that foundation to your next school. How important is it to kind of remember what high school, what community you guys came from?
I think it's really important, especially when you go to different schools where people come from all different countries and all different states all across the United States. So just knowing exactly where you're from and the values that you hold, that hold dear to your heart, they kind of keep you in line. And remember that you have to be successful. In order to, like, knowing where you came from, it kind of puts you on the right path to succeed and keep pushing and keep striving.
Any advice for these seniors coming up and underclassmen going forward in the future?
Just to always, no matter whether it's football, school, and in life, just always do whatever you do with a chip on your shoulder. Just know that you always have something to prove. Never feel like you're good enough. If you feel like you're good enough, you're never going to get better. We were taught that here at Brockton High all the time. So it's just always know that you got something to prove and that you can ascend and be better.
Good luck, guys. Back to you guys.
All right, Newbie, thank you. And, I mean, we've talked all day. We haven't pointed out Newbie's Thanksgiving hat. It's a tradition when we do these football games. It's like the first thing that we notice right off the bat.
This is definitely one of the weaker ones. We saw the first year he had the full turkey as this ball is out and all the way at the 1 and clocked.
Number 53, Matt Foley, laying
Late
down the
flag
thunder.
thrown in.
Maybe unsportsmanlike. Flag down at the 22.
Yeah, quick note. This is definitely one of Newbie's weaker hats, weaker turkey hats. He waited till the last minute, couldn't find one, had to improvise.
It's going to be unsportsmanlike on Brockton. Now, I think the traditional, actual, legit turkey hat is somewhere within the confines of the BTV studio. I do remember seeing one there. I just can't remember where it was, but I do remember seeing the actual turkey hat.
I have a turkey hat. I know where you're trying to go with this, but I do have my own turkey hat.
Oh, it's your own?
It's
Oh, I
my own
didn't know if you stole it.
My hard-earned money.
I didn't know if you saw it and you said, this is good, so it's going to be mine.
But, I mean, the turkey headband might be the way to go here. So BR, just like that, inside the 5, up to the 2-yard line, I should say. With 7:16 left to go, Brockton holding on by a thread. But after the penalty, now it's just a 1-yard field for the BR Trojans.
And another flag thrown right here.
I don't think I've ever seen this many penalties called in the Thanksgiving football game.
That's going to be 12 men on Brockton, so that just went from the 1-yard line to the half-yard line.
You talk about gifts, you talk about Black Friday sales. Brockton's doing all the work for the Trojans right now.
Well, this goes back to what you were talking about at the beginning of the game. Brockton has continued to hurt themselves with all these penalties and helping the other team get back in the game. When you're facing a team like BR, they don't really need that much help to get the points on the scoreboard.
I think the key word for Brockton this whole season has been discipline.
Sullivan pushing forward for the end zone. He may have been stopped just shy of the end zone. Not sure how much closer he can possibly get. They'll bring up a second down. Corey Sullivan looking for his 4th touchdown of the day. Has 2 passing and has 1 QB sneak for a touchdown. And this is where you miss Bryce Shaw or Devontae Graves, Brian. A goal-to-go situation right about at the 1-yard line.
Talk about missing players. Brockton missing Kingsley Ajoku-Dike up the middle linebacker position as he's moved on to play D1 at Brown. A big hole to fill, one of the leaders on this team. And he was usually the one stopping the run.
On 2nd and goal, Jufre and Lombard in the backfield. Handoff to William Lombard. Gets the touchdown for the BR Trojans and makes it a 28-7 lead.
I was going to say, it wouldn't be a surprise if they try to, go off tackle or go not directly up the middle right behind the center, but maybe go either behind the guard or behind a tackle as they just did right there to kind of stretch out the Brockton defense. So good play call right there, great execution, and another touchdown for the Trojans.
Brockton doesn't answer on the next drive. chalk it up as a win for the Trojans.
I'd have to look back at this, but I think this is the most points scored by one team in this Cape Cod Cafe Cup rivalry. 28 points scored between both teams last year, the 15-13 final. Early jump by Brockton. The field goal, or PAT attempt, is going to be good, so it'll be a 29-7 lead.
You said the magic number. Side note, as BR is going to decline this penalty, PAT is good.
Well, I mean, we talked about the Thanksgiving headband, so Newbie, I think, heard us because he has a different hat. So we're going to send it down to Newbie again. Newbie.
You know, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to retire this turkey hat. It's actually going to be in the Hall of Fame. I heard Matt's talking a lot of trash about my turkey hat. But listen, we should first talk about that awful, horrible sweater he has on, for the record. And we're lucky that the camera can't see because it's really bad, to be quite frank with you. But, you know, anyway, Bridgewater's doing a fantastic job. Oh my God! Whoa! Look what we have here! Look what I found, Jen Caruso! Wow! Jen, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
This is amazing! First and foremost, wow, listen, we want to talk about living legends right here. Jen Caruso, I mean, the soccer team won the championship last week. We want to talk about someone who really put soccer on the map, especially for lady boxer soccer. But in general, I want to get your feedback first and foremost on the team winning last week, excuse me.
Honestly, I was so excited. I was scrolling down Facebook. I know my dad had texted me that they were playing in the championships. And honestly, that's something I've always dreamed of. I'm so proud of the boys soccer team. That's honestly a huge accomplishment. And that just makes me proud. Like, I mean, Brockton's out there now. They're doing great things, so it's great.
You know, it's fantastic. I think this is a program that's been building. The girls and boys program's been building, you know, year after year. So this is kind of, you know, the fruits of the labor with that championship. Let's first, let's talk about you in terms of you're playing over at Brown University now, Division I. Let's talk about that experience. You're going to your senior year. How did this year go for you?
So this year it was pretty well. I mean, overall as a team, we came in 4th in the Ivy League, which was okay. Should have came in 1st, but it happens. Personally, I had the best year. I scored against Harvard, scored against Princeton. Those are 2 huge games of our season. And yeah, I mean, it's been a great experience. It's very different than high school soccer. Of course, obviously the level is a lot higher. But it's great to just play like on a new level and represent Brockton in any way you can. So,
let's talk about some of the things, some of the differences. I know it's the talent level is obviously more. I mean, how is he adjusting from high school to college? Not even just playing sports, just in terms of academics and life in general.
Well, obviously Ivy League is very tough. Academically, I'm pre-med, so that's tough as well. So definitely academically, it was a little harder than I expected, but athletically, I think Brockton prepared me very well. And yeah, I mean, it's good.
Well, best of luck. We're definitely proud of you here in Brockton. Back up to you guys.
All right, Newbie, thank you. The Brockton Boxers putting some athletes out there. Ken Caruso, a great soccer player for the Brockton Boxers. And another penalty against the Brockton Boxers. Tell me if you heard that one before, Matt.
This is like bashing your head against the wall repeatedly. What's the definition of insanity?
What's something along the lines of trying something over and over again, expecting a different result?
Show off.
I try.
That's been the story of the season and the game for the Brockton Boxers.
And this is Cundiff, who stays on his feet as Michael Wilder tried to set Cundiff back about 10 yards, but gets back a little closer to the 29-30-yard line.
Got to respond to Newbie. Newbie, the turkey head, it's not even a hat, first of all, this year. It's a headband.
He has a hat on right now, though.
He's got the pilgrim hat on. We can't call his performance today a turkey hat. It's an insult to all those turkey hats out there. It's not politically correct. It's just wrong. It's a headband, and it's an insult. The sweater that I'm wearing right now is a thing of beauty. It's like the 8th wonder of the world. It's the official start of ugly sweater season, and this is a not-so-ugly sweater. So you can see Patriots logo.
You gotta show it off.
We might have to stand a little closer this way, Brian. Matt's head is kind of inflating a little
bit.
bit.
The only thing helping you is the Patriots logo, really.
Pat's logos everywhere. The snowflakes. 'Tis the season. Newbie, the headband's weak.
At least we know that BCA gets along very well.
Oh, this is some fighting words there.
All right, getting back to the game, though. 39, 4.5 left to go. Montero on the keeper, and he's going to get taken down at the 40-yard line.
John, you can place your wager here. It looks like we might have a little rendezvous here with Newbie and Matt Nelson going on.
Let me just say this. Newbie, at least I'm repping the hometown team with the Patriots. We're in a Chicago White Sox shirt. Come on, man.
Would you really be proud of being a Red Sox fan?
Oh, wow, John.
Hey,
Zinga.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite holidays because you're supposed to give thanks for everyone in your life, and then like 6 hours later you beat the bejesus out of each other at midnight for your Christmas shopping. I mean, that's great. I love this. It's like the biggest turn of events in like any holiday ever. Looks like the Boxers. Oops, sorry, John, didn't mean to cut you off there. Looks like the Boxers are taking a timeout though.
So Brockton trying to make something out of this football game. 29-7. Coming up after the game, we will have the presentation of the Cape Cod Cafe Cup and the MVPs for both sides.
A lot of power in our hands this year. We get to pick the MVPs for both teams.
You weren't supposed to say that.
Wasn't that?
No, that was supposed to be a secret.
You don't hear Phil Simms or whoever does it now say, I get to present the six-legged turkey or turducken. There you go, Matt.
NBC always pumps up the fact that they're going to choose someone to give a turkey leg to at the end of the game.
Do you have a turkey leg you're going to give somebody?
No.
Okay.
I might have Newbie's headband at some point.
But nevertheless, we will have the MVP presentation and the cup presentation as well as Brockton. If they're going to come back in this game, they're going to do it very quickly here, starting off with a 4th and 4 here in the third quarter.
As for the MVP discussion, I think it's pretty easy for Brockton. You got to give it to Rose and Pierre, but on the Bridgewater-Raynham side, I mean, you have Corey Sullivan, Joey D'Amelia. I mean, it's kind of a toss-up, really, who you can give it to.
Still another.
Siggio's had some big catches, too.
Still another 14 minutes to decide that for the BR Trojans as Montero goes for on 4th down. That is going to be complete to Cundiff, but still behind the first down marker. Now in front up to the 48 and the first down for the Boxers.
Jufre almost brought him down to just shy of the first down marker. Cundiff, a very elusive runner, was able to slip through the hands of Jufre and get the first down.
Cundiff's putting on the late push for the Brockton MVP.
There is a flag on the field.
Going against the...
Looks like it's against the Trojans, as that's the way that they're moving. They're roughing the passer on the Trojans here, so an extra 15 yards for the Boxers.
This is the one thing about high school football that people always talk about. When you have a large lead up by 22 for the BR Trojans, the important thing to do is keep your eye on the prize. Sometimes BR may get complacent, so Dan Biron tries to keep them on their toes for the entire 44 minutes. Three receivers lined up on the near side. Montero, the handoff. Actually, it's going to be a QB keep.
Does a great job right there. If the Trojans defense not falling for the QB option there.
That play, as good as the defense was for the Trojans there, that just didn't develop at all for the Boxers. There was supposed to be some holes that opened up. Montero was supposed to spin off of, I think it was Cundiff on the end around and spin into one of those holes, and there was just nothing there.
2nd and 10, just under 3 minutes remaining in this third quarter. Montero out of the shotgun, looking downfield. That pass is going to be complete, and then some.
It's Paul Mitchell.
Paul Mitchell inside the 10, up to the 2.
Looks like he was trying to go for the strip there and force the fumble, and Mitchell just outpowering him, getting through that arm tackle and getting some yards after contact. Take a look at the replay.
First time today we've mentioned Paul Mitchell's name, and he has been a pretty popular target for the Brockton Boxers passing game.
Number of big targets in the BC High game that was up at Harvard. Scoring one of the 3 Boxer touchdowns in that contest.
Montero under center on 1st and goal. Handoff to Cumberlander, and he's going to take this one inside the end zone for the touchdown for Brockton.
Cumberlander, huge pickup for the Boxers. I say pickup. He played at Severian last year. Didn't work out for the Hawks. Coming back from the dark side over to the light to the public schools, and immediately named one of the co-captains of this Boxer team. leading by example right there, drawing the Boxers within striking distance here.
So right now it's a 16-point lead. If you're Pierre Colombo, do you think about maybe going for 2?
It looks like they are going to go for 2. It's the smart call to make right here and trying to get back into this game.
I don't think it's about necessarily the points here. I think it's about the mindset. If you're able to get 2 more scores and get within that striking distance, if you only go for 1 here, then you need 2 2-point conversions on the back end to bring this game even. If you get a 2-point conversion here, you only need 1 more 2-point conversion and then a PAT attempt.
This drive really turned around with that reception by Jalen Cundiff back around the 40-yard line, where one of the defenders just blew right by Cundiff. He missed his target and took off for another 10 yards.
Yeah, that 4th and 4 on this drive was really the key play to this drive, keeping it going. That's why Boxers now have the chance to go for 2.
Lest we forget about the roughing the passer penalty against BR.
Montero on the keep. And Montero very close, and he gets in for 2. Jose Montero closes the gap a little bit here, makes it a 14-point game, 29-15.
Huge score for the Boxers. They draw this one within 2 touchdowns, 29-15, as you mentioned, John. And Brockton, I think they're going to start to play a lot looser now, a lot more comfortable now that they're not trying to claw their way back from 3 scores down. So take a look at that 2-point conversion, and just getting across the line was Jose Montero Jr. and everybody's favorite turkey on the sideline, Newbie Rattel. Go ahead, Newbie.
And I'm here with Cindric. We go way back. We talk all the time. One of my good friends. He allegedly played Bridgewater football. Allegedly. No, but first and foremost, played Bridgewater football. Now he's over at Bridgewater State University. Before we get into that, how awful was that sweater that you saw in the press box?
It was pretty awful. I couldn't believe he actually left his house like that.
Yeah, so he started to talk. So now we got like a little LeVar Ball, Donald Trump, little battle going on right here. But yeah, the awful sweater, Matt. But talk about the rivalry between Brockton and Bridgewater playing on Thanksgiving. What did that mean to you as a football player?
The rivalry is pretty serious, you know what I'm saying? We don't like them, they don't like us, and we come here to win, you know? Every year, they haven't beat us. They didn't beat me my year, and they're not going to beat us ever again.
Whoa, wow. But talk about what does it mean to you as a football player playing on Thanksgiving Day? That's got to be quite an honor.
Yeah, it's special because, you know, it's your last game, especially if you're a senior, and you just want to leave it all on the field one last time, and you want to leave with your head up, whether you win or lose.
So right now you're at Bridgewater State. What are you majoring in right now?
Business management.
Awesome. So it's always good to see alumni doing great things, moving on. So, listen, this looks like it's going to be a fantastic finish to the game, hopefully. So we'll see. Back to you guys. And listen, Matt, maybe next time try another sweater. I don't know. We'll see. Back to you guys.
This is fun to listen to, Brian.
Yeah, this is getting personal here.
It's fun when it's not you and you have to listen to this.
The sweater, if you look at the definition of perfection in the dictionary, you will see a picture of this sweater.
Does your head fit through the door sometimes? It kind of inflates a little bit.
Just a little. Just a little.
And by the way, BR does have a 6-1 series lead in the Cape Cod Cafe Cup. Just to throw it out there as well.
Trying to make it 7-1 in what has been definitely a one-sided matchup in the Cape Cod Cafe Cup. Brockton, they've had some really good teams in the years since the Cape Cod Cafe Cup inception.
On second down, D'Amelia, the intended target, overthrown. Some good defense also by number 22, Celsius.
Yeah, it looks like we'll see a look in the replay here. Looks like D'Amelia heard some footsteps here, and
Got to give a credit to Belsius right there. Enough to break up the pass and send the message. Not enough to earn a penalty. He could have easily lowered the shoulder and completely flattened the Trojan wideout.
Yeah, it would have been a good hit.
Brockton has gotten some contact onto the BR Trojan starting quarterback, Corey Sullivan.
The fight of the century is upon us now.
Forget about Mayweather-Pacquiao. Forget about Mayweather-McGregor. It's Newbie and Mad Dog.
I'd pay to see that. Brian hands the headset off to Newbie Ritzo. We had third down. Corey Sullivan throws that one over the head of everybody. Brings up fourth down, and we might be able to settle some stuff here as we got Newbie and Matt on headsets. So I'll just let you two go here.
Matt, what I want you to do, I want you to go home, take that sweater, and burn it. Please, do us all a favor.
Newbie, one question. Why would you purposely and with intent insult every turkey hat known to man by calling your little headband thing that looks like it was made in a kindergarten classroom a turkey hat?
No, I like to change it up. I like to switch things up. You know, just like in football, you like to change things up once in a while. If things are going good, things are going bad, you change it up. That's what I like to do.
All right, explain the Chicago White Sox betraying the hometown team in the Red Sox.
Well, I'm wearing Chicago White Sox shirt because
flags from everywhere.
There's a flag
We have
on there.
Little how do you do with Donnybrook.
And we saw this a few years ago when these two teams played here at the regional, a little bit of pushing and shoving, but this is what you get in a rivalry sometimes. You get some heated words exchanged, some players not very happy with ending their season on Thanksgiving, wanted to go to the Super Bowl, so this is what you get.
But to answer your question, the reason why the Chicago White Sox shirts, because 72 years ago, a gentleman by the name of Hank Germani was one of the original coaches for that team. He was actually originally from Bridgewater. That's somewhere in it. That was a complete fabrication, made up lie. I don't know. I just like it. I like the shirt, Matt. Better than yours. I'll tell you that.
Not even close.
Nice.
Not even close.
Matt, can I go back to do my job, sideline reporting, instead of
You have had some A+ interviews today.
We've ran into some.
Newbie's always on the ball when it comes to his sideline, man.
I'm not sure if that player was played at Bridgewater-Raynham. Do you guys remember him? It was allegedly. We'll see.
We'll get the shoulder shrug. We don't.
Yeah,
we don't know.
I guess we'll find out in the next few days.
Just an angry phone call is coming back to BTV.
Can I go back to do my job as a sideline reporter?
As long as you don't show that quote-unquote hat on camera.
We'll find only one way to find out, right?
Rosenpierre on first down, gets a handoff, finds a couple of open holes on the near side, still on his feet, knocked out of bounds right around the 45-yard line with 39 seconds left in this third quarter.
Guys, have a great Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, Newbie.
That's Rosenpierre's other skill set. Excellent body control, leaning over the sideline, almost falling out of bounds, but able to stay in bounds. Excellent work there by Rosenpierre.
Brockton trying to make this a little bit more interesting heading into the fourth quarter. Handoff to number 36, Eddie Ferreira. And some more flags flying. This is getting a little bit testy here in the second half.
That's because Mad Dog put on the little pilgrim hat here.
Yeah, Newbie left the okay hat in the press box and took that monstrosity back down to the sideline. That insult back down to the sideline. Another unsportsmanlike, another 15 yards. A lot of 15-yard penalties today.
And might as well make it worth it.
We go back to that first quarter. It was a sloppy first quarter. Penalties all over the place and turnovers.
That's going to be about the third or fourth unsportsmanlike conduct penalty of the game. Of course, in a rivalry game, you're going to get that. You're going to get some people talking, and they're always going to get the retaliation. Usually, they're not going to get the instigating.
Clock winds down. Should be the final play of the third quarter. Ferreira gets the pitch, and Eddie Ferreira inside BR territory up to the 42. A good run by Eddie Ferreira.
Got a Trojan down at the 45.
Robert Jufrey, a little slow to get up. And that should be the end of the third quarter, and it is. After the Brockton Boxers make it a little bit more interesting here. Dexter Cumberlander, a 2-yard carry with a Jose Montero 2-point conversion.
Dufresne heavily favoring his left leg, hopping over to the sideline.
Next could be an issue because Jufre was a second-string fullback for the BR Trojans. Bryce Shaw out with an ankle injury, so Jufre's injured, Brian. This could spell some issues for the BR Trojans.
Yeah, if he's unable to return, although he was able to walk off under his own power, but if he's not going to be 100% not going to be able to go for the rest of the game, you're most likely going to have to look at one of the linemen to take over in that fullback position to create a hole for Lombard.
Also defensively, Jufre, the starting linebacker. As we switch sides in a 14-point contest on Thanksgiving. Once again, coming up at the end of the game, we'll have the presentation of the trophy and the MVPs will be announced.
Excellent time to touch on some accomplishments for both of these schools. Of course, the Trojan cheerleading team, 4 times in 5 years they've won the state championship. Ridiculous amounts of success for the Trojan cheerleaders.
Rosenpierre on third down gets stuffed.
Of course, we'll also mention the other Brockton team, Cardinal Spellman. They just wrapped up their game against Archie's, and Archie's took home the Gravy Bowl for the 40th time of the 20-13 win.
Gravy Bowl, I never knew that.
Well, the things you learn, John.
The more you know. It's the Brockton boys soccer team, state champions, ranked 7th in the country.
Yeah, the interesting thing is that they were never ranked in the state because no one really reported their scores, so no one really knew about them. And all of a sudden, you go win the state championship, and let's now be ranked nationally. Like, wait a minute, you weren't ranked for a long time in the state.
Well, that escalated quickly.
Yeah, because no one really reported their scores.
Big fourth down here. Cundiff in motion. Montero has some time to throw it. Now he doesn't, gets tripped up right at the 40, and the defense of the BR Trojans stand tall.
That was an excellent defense, especially in the secondary for the Trojans, making sure that no one was going to get open for the boxes. And Montero did what he thought he had to do, and that was just take off.
Montero's one downfall this year. I think he takes off a little bit too early. The pocket had not yet collapsed. He still had time. He had a couple of guys downfield that he could have tried to force it to, but instead opting to split out and attempt to find a hole that, as BR has done all day, they close these holes and gaps very quickly.
Jose Montero returning to the Brockton Boxers after missing last season with a knee injury. Told the Brockton Enterprise that first before the season he was just thinking about what will happen when he cuts, when he starts playing. When he started playing, he just got the injury out of his mind, and it was a little bit easier for him to survey the field and be him again.
And that's usually the first thing after injury is just mentally is it going to be there? Is it going to collapse when I try and cut again? So, I mean, once you get that confidence up, you're going to play better and better.
Hand off to Lombard on first down, gets wrapped up and stopped by number 58 for the Brockton Boxers, A.J. Walker Jr.
I'd say it probably going towards like the end of the second quarter there, and then this whole second half, this Boxers front four has done an amazing job of getting through that offensive line of the Trojans, stopping any running attack in the backfield.
And go back to Montero. He tore that ACL in the spring practices. He tore it in mid-April. So he had all that extra time. It's usually an 8 to 10 month recovery on that. He had all that extra time sitting out the entirety of last season, didn't run spring track, didn't play basketball, although he was on both of those teams. He had all that extra time. He really had, you think about 16 months to recover from that, get the feeling right, get his muscles back up to speed in his leg, and get his coordination back.
Sullivan's pass complete to D'Amelia, and again some late hitting. BR looking for an extra flag, and everybody in the stands looking for an extra flag. So there's the wrap up, and there's the extra couple of hits that BR was looking for the flag once again.
You're taught to play until the whistle, and you know you're running at full speed. It's not like you're going to stop on a dime when you're running at full speed there. So
that's how those torn ACLs happen.
So a gain of 7 brings up a 3rd and 4 for the Trojans. They're trying to wind this clock down, and that's been BR's game. Just wind the clock down as much as possible. Try and give Brockton as little time as possible. As you see Dan Brown staring up at the clock, winding down, waiting for the very last second, and he takes a timeout. In 2 seconds, there you go. 8:14 left to go in the fourth.
A lot of tradition shaping up behind this game, guys. Of course, a couple days ago, the seniors from both of these teams treated to a free lunch at Cape Cod Cafe. and getting to bond and talk outside of football and just hang out as people. And seniors in high school, hey, what are you doing for college? You're going to play ball, stuff like that. Not talk about football or the rivalry or their senior years of high school, but just about life, stuff like that, coaches and seniors.
As you see the Cape Cod Cafe Cup, and you see 2012.
It's tilted towards one side there.
2012, the lone blemish on the BR Perfect stretch. Nevertheless, this is a great rivalry because it brings in two communities that are very close together as far as distance goes and as far as their enjoyment of the game of football goes. I mean, Brian, we saw games against Randolph, East Bridgewater. It just didn't fit perfect, but then Brockton was looking for a team and BR was looking for a team, and so far it's been a pretty good match for both sides.
Yeah, it was kind of a match made in heaven for years. I mean, BR played Taunton and then for years played Silver Lake, and once Silver Lake dropped out of the OCL, you had a 2-year contract with East Bridgewater. They backed out of that, and then you had a 2-year deal with Randolph, and then Waltham walked away from Brockton. It was, like I said, it was just a match made in heaven.
So a big 3rd and 4 here, 8:14 left to go. Brockton looking to get back into this game. Split receiver set, Lombard dotting the I. Sullivan for D'Amelia. That is caught for the first down, and BR keeps going here in the 4th.
Quite a nice quick little out there from D'Amelia. Just past the first down marker and keeps the chains moving for the Trojans, and more importantly, keeps his clock running.
Backbreaker first down for the Boxers. The clock continues to run back across 8 minutes to go in the game. Brockton down by 2 scores.
Give the Boxers credit. They were down at one point 22-0. So give them credit. After that halfway point of the second quarter, Boxers really got back into this game defensively and offensively. Some things worked out pretty well for them.
Never say impossible, lest we forget the Falcons blew a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl.
Very true. This is very true.
I wondered where I saw that shirt. CCO, the man in motion. Sullivan on first down. Evades the pocket, looks downfield. That one almost, maybe one-hand scoop, but nevertheless incomplete. Almost grabbed there by Stanley Ginty, and we have a flag.
It might be a defensive holding here on Brockton, as D'Amelia was really being held pretty good the entire time.
Sullivan's.
And it is a defensive holding on Brockton. Like I said, yeah, the whole time D'Amelia was really getting held up pretty good down that sideline, and it's an automatic first down.
Sullivan's lucky he didn't put just a little more mustard on that pass, or it would have been intercepted.
Yeah, but the flag would have negated that.
As we mentioned, Sullivan only one interception in the postseason. That was basically in garbage time of the sectional final.
And the 10 penalties for 82 yards for the Boxers, 3 for 35 for the Trojans.
It's been a sign of the season for Brockton so far. Penalties that really take you out of the game, almost giving up an entire football field. Sullivan under center, handoff to Lombard. William Lombard breaks through the middle, still on his feet, up to the 19-yard line for the sophomore running back.
That was an excellent run right there from William Lombard, cutting to his left and cutting to his right. Found some open daylight. We'll take a look at the replay right here. Look at that cut to the right, off to the left, and one more back to the right. Great run right there from William Lombard to get the Trojans into on the other side of the red zone. That's on the 20. We'll give him the red zone. We'll give him that.
Some judgment calls being made. 7:19 still to go in the 4th. Sullivan looking to get another touchdown on the scoreboard to round out his high school career. Hand off again to Lombard. Pickup of about 2 or 3 on the play. Lombard, a sophomore running back, and very familiar for sophomore running backs to make their name for the BR Trojans. Sean Noel, Devontae Graves, and you can add William Lombard to that list.
Yeah, we've seen pretty much this whole drive, for the exception of maybe the first 2 or 3 plays. This offensive line for the Trojans have starting to control the line against this Brockton front 4.
If I'm Brockton, the way the second half started, the front 4 was really able to penetrate the offensive line and get to the run game, get to Sullivan, slow down the Trojans' offense. I would have sent a 5th for the majority of the second half just after seeing the front 4 have some success.
Ball's out.
Sullivan loses the handle. Looks like
Ball's
Lombard
out again,
was.
but the whistle's blow.
I think it was Taylor that had it originally. Then he was thrown down to the ground and lost it as he was falling. But those are the plays that can quickly turn a football game around very easy.
It looks like it was just a bad snap to the quarterback there.
Luckily for Lombard, the whistle was blown as he was in the air because he lost it right as he fell down. Dan Buron has had a very difficult relationship with referees recently, Brian. I mean, as long as we've done football games, Dan Buron is making sure referees call the game by the books.
I think he wanted a flag on the hit there because he brought Lombard off the ground, and I think that's really where he wanted the flag to be thrown. Brings up a 3rd and 8 for the Trojans.
Clock will begin to wind down again. Should take us to just over 5 minutes to go in the 4th. This has been a game predicated on boxers' miscues. 10 penalties for 82 yards. Two receivers set. Pitch to Lombard. Goes to the near side, and Lombard driven down by a whole host of boxers, including Cumberlander and Doranville.
It's going to be interesting to see if they want to try and go for a field goal here, as the wind would be going about left to right. Well, now it's dead, but but the wind really shouldn't play that much of a factor if they want to try a field goal with Tommy Fay. But Tommy Fay staying on the sideline for right now.
That'd be about a 27-yard field goal, give or take. We have seen Fay drill some field goals from even further than that, from about the 20-yard line, 25 even.
Be about a 34, 35-yard field goal, actually.
Trojans are going to go for it here on 4th down. D'Amelia, the man in motion. Sullivan fakes it, looks downfield. Intended for D'Amelia, incomplete.
And Sullivan had to throw that off his back foot because Brockton had some rushers coming through, and that was the only option he really had, was just to get rid of it as soon as he can. Take a look right here, 2 edge rushers, and it's really couldn't step into that throw, and there's another flag.
Flags flying around like it's New Year's Eve.
I think it's going to be against BR.
D'Amelia might have said something as he was going by a couple of defenders.
That pass almost complete to D'Amelia. Looked like he might have gotten tripped up on his own feet as he was crossing the goal line.
So another unsportsmanlike conduct, and Brockton will start out from their own 30-yard line.
That was BR's 4th penalty for 50 yards.
That's a big one as far as field position goes. Brockton was started within the 15-yard line.
Brockton's going to have to score quick on this drive.
Montero out of the gun.
Ooh.
That one slipped out of Montero's hands.
It looks like he was supposed to be somewhat of a pump fake there, and it just slipped right out. Take a look at the replay. I don't think he truly wanted to do this. I think it was supposed to be a pump fake.
At the very least, the clock still stays at 5:10, doesn't keep winding down, so that may be the lone positive out of this.
It was just a really fancy spike.
Yes.
I like that.
I'll go with that.
Like, it's not falling. It's not flying. It's falling with style. Trips to the near side. Watch out for Glenn Doherty on the far corner.
That one bounces off the ground, incomplete, as Thomas O'Brien was the quarterback taking the snap.
Yeah, Tom O'Brien also was able to get the 3rd and final touchdown for the Boxers against BC High at Harvard.
O'Brien also a senior quarterback as he comes back out for the Boxers. And Pierre's going to head back to the sideline. He's going to have to go passing game here, 3rd and 10 with 5:06 left.
A little bit interesting of a strategy, putting in O'Brien at quarterback instead of the junior Michael Norman.
O'Brien sets back. And that is going to be stripped and covered up still by the Brockton Boxers.
Trojan down at the 24-yard line.
Matthew Goldstone on the recovery of that fumble, but as Matt mentioned, player down for the BR Trojans.
That was just a swing and a miss for O'Brien. I think it's number 80 for the Trojans that's down.
I believe it actually might be number 60.
It's been a very hard-hitting and physical game between these two teams. James Gimler, as we take a look at this play, he's going to be right around the middle of the screen. See his arm flying up, and
it looks like he got turned around a little bit.
Gimler, a senior player. As this has been a very injury-riddled team, the BR Trojans, recently over the past 2 games. Mentioned all the offensive injuries. Now Gimler on defense. So Tommy O'Brien facing a 4th and 19.
Fourth and forget about it.
Boxers season on the line here at Thanksgiving. O'Brien is going to get taken down.
Where are they going to stop the forward progress?
I don't think I heard a whistle.
I didn't hear a whistle either.
No whistles blown.
Not even a hand up or any indication.
Take a look at the replay right here.
That one could have gotten ugly. O'Brien was being ripped around by his head and shoulders. And you got to blow the whistle for forward progress at some point.
At least around the 10, 11-yard line. And that is where they're going to spot the ball.
Turnover on downs. The gifts continue from the Brockton Boxers.
Well, 'tis the season.
Look at you being all festive.
Yeah, sure. I'm with you, John. I'm very perturbed when they start playing the Christmas music before Halloween.
Thank you.
Bridgewater-Raynham takes a timeout. Yeah, not a huge fan of that. See, when Thanksgiving's over, that's when you get into your Christmas mode. You know, like maybe a couple days before I can see it, but you know, when you can buy your Christmas tree at the same time as your Halloween candy, I just have an issue with it.
It's a convenience thing. Why take 2 trips to the store when you can?
Well, at that point, you might as well get your Christmas shopping done.
Exactly.
Just like our very own DJ Jeff Fowler, he has his Christmas shopping done for the year. He's all set.
He's not shy about it either.
No, he is very proud of that fact.
Excellent time to mention. Joint production, BTV, BCA, always a lot of fun. Always a lot of fun.
I mean, it wasn't fun with you and Newbie going for it. I mean,
that was just uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Actually, it was kind of funny.
It was fun. It was fun.
It was fun watching Matt
fun
get
for
taken
the
to school.
competitors. Fun for the competitors. I mean, when I'm matched up against a 7-time award-winning director and producer and someone who's been nominated for an Emmy, that's not really a fair matchup.
No, it's not.
It's like a flyweight going against a heavyweight.
Of course, a very excellent documentary that he made, Out of Bounds. Had the opportunity to watch it. It's truly remarkable, John. If you haven't had it, or if anyone else listening or watching, if you haven't had the opportunity to watch Out of Bounds, I highly suggest that you watch that documentary.
Best Buy, Amazon, Walmart. Do it.
Sullivan on first down gets the pitch to Lombard, and Lombard gets stopped right around the line of scrimmage. And
more
once
flags.
again, flags fly. We have to be approaching some sort of record here.
Do we keep records of this? Do you want to keep records of this?
Might be fun.
Just heard the disqualified
I mean,
words
at this
thrown
point,
on the press box.
At this point, well, personal foul, unsportsmanlike conducts. Eventually, someone's going to get tossed.
You hear the referees in the stands here making the call for us.
A lot of them today.
All right, let's head back down once again to Newbie Rateau. Newbie.
Guys, down here on the sideline, it's been a lot of trash talking on both sides, real chippy. A lot of things I can't say, or I'll get fined through FCC or regulations or what have you. A lot of chippiness going on, so both teams are both coaches telling the players, hey, let's pipe it down a little bit, but a lot of intense words, to say the least, going down here. And the last play right there, apparently one of the Brockton players might have took a swipe at someone's head, so that's why everyone's all fired up about. But the only thing we should be getting chippy at is that Thanksgiving turkey later on today.
Can't forget about Thanksgiving turkey. I mean, that's like the main event right there.
Oh, no, you get the turkey and you get the tryptophan, take a little snooze, go do some Midnight Madness shopping.
It's not like the 8:30 NFL game is going to be worth watching.
Very true. Very true. Lombard on the carry there to make it a 2nd and goal, under 3.5 left to go. But this is what people were expecting when we see BR and Brockton, some chippiness, some attitude fueled into this rivalry. And we're seeing it here today.
Time winding down. I think I'm changing my vote to Dimitri Doranville, MVP for the Boxers.
You know, he certainly has had a heck of a game. Nice reception that he had. Defensively, he's been a standout all day.
Corey Sullivan trying to evade the rush. Still on his feet, going for touchdown number 4. Stopped at the 1.
Corey Sullivan banged up a little bit, slow to get up.
Definitely giving BR MVP Corey Sullivan. I mean, if D'Amelia had a bigger second half, maybe he had those 2 big receptions to kick off the BR scoring. Corey Sullivan has had a phenomenal game for the Trojans.
I might keep it with D'Amelia because he's had a good game defensively as well today.
Both sides of the ball, you had to certainly think about D'Amelia. Of course, there's still time here on 3rd and goal. Maybe for a tie-breaking vote on the field. Corey Sullivan, 3 touchdowns in the first half. Had a rushing touchdown and 2 passing touchdowns. Michael Wilder in the backfield along with Lombard and D'Amelia. Handoff to Lombard, and the sophomore running back gets close and into the end zone for the 2nd time this morning.
Yeah, that's just Will right there. You get stopped immediately in your second effort. We'll take a look at the replay right here, and he just gets it into the end zone, and Bridgewater-Raynham cracks 30.
So it's going to be a happy turkey day for...
Whoa. There's hats flying everywhere in here.
It's going to be a happy turkey day for the BR Trojans, and William Lombard gets 2 touchdowns in his first Thanksgiving football game here with the varsity team.
32.
Of course, now we can bring it up as Thomas Fay is going to come on for the PAT. That is going to be good to make it 36-15. John Carney just walked by us, and John Carney retiring at the end of the school year. A very important part of the BR Trojans football team and the baseball team as well. Won the state championship a few years ago.
Yeah, Coach Carney's been at the regional quite some time, John. I know one of his first successful baseball teams he had was, I believe, around 2002, 2003, where they won the South Sectional. And he's been a tremendous baseball coach, and I played under him when I was here at Bridgewater-Raynham, and he's been a fantastic football coach here. He was along for the ride, I believe, when Bridgewater-Raynham won their first 2 Super Bowls way back in the day. I know it was one of his ultimate goals was to coach from Gillette Stadium, which he got that opportunity when Bridgewater-Raynham went to Gillette Stadium several years ago. And of course, on the baseball side, he did win this, I believe it's the 2013 state championship. Of course, went to the Super 8 tournament for the first 2 years of that existence. But an absolute tremendous career for John Carney here at the regional.
So, John, I got to ask you a question. This matchup's going to move to 7-1 for the BR Trojans. What's wrong with the Brockton Boxers in this matchup? It's D1 against D2. This should be a blowout every year.
You would think that, but you're looking at 2 contrasting styles here between these 2 football teams, as this kick is going to be bobbled, and some trickery trying to be broken out here for the Brockton Boxers. But the BR Trojans, they stick to their game. They're a running football team. We saw that today with the exception of a couple of touchdown passes, but, I mean, we saw it here today. BR is a more disciplined team than the Brockton Boxers. We've seen it in years past as well. Certainly give credit to Dan Bjorn and the BR Trojans. Bjorn in his 25th season as a head coach of the Trojans.
Well, how about this for a fun game in the Selectmen's Cup? Falmouth with a 50-32 victory over Barnstable. How about that's a fun game to edit?
That's a scoreboard breaker right there.
You talk about scoreboard breakers. First week of the playoffs, Lincoln Sudbury over Cambridge, 77-28.
Ooh, yeah. Lincoln Sudbury meets up with King Philip at Gillette Stadium on Friday, December the 1st for the Division II state championship.
Let's not even talk about D1. Every single year, Severian and Everett.
Well, that's because BC High was upset, and I think in the quarterfinals, or either that.
Against CM. CM with the big upset.
Yeah, the Hail Mary at the very end there. And, of course, the interesting thing is I believe all the North Division winners would not have made the playoffs under the old format, as Zavarian wouldn't have made it under the old format. So this old format, expands the team so you can get more teams in here. I think there could be some tweaking. Maybe you can cut it from 8 to 4 because I think John did the research there. Out of all divisions North and South, there really wasn't too many close games out of all those quarterfinals.
There's an average margin of victory of about 22 to 24 points. So really there were no contests besides the Brockton game against Needham. That was the one that really threw off the average.
I mean, the easy fix here, take all the Catholic Conference teams, put them in their own, make them the Super 8. Make the Catholic Conference its own thing, because the way it's going now, we're going to have the teams that win their division. So you got Needham, you got Brockton, you got the Catholic Conference teams that all finish over 500, so they get in.
Except for this year.
And then in the quarterfinals, you've got the 3 Catholic Conference teams. You got CM, BC High, Severian, and one sucker. This year it happened to be Needham, who defeated Brockton in the opening round. And that's a blowout. They lost to Severian 28-0. And then it's always 2 Catholic Conference teams fighting it out for the South Sectional title and going on to play Everett every single year.
So Rosenpierre with the 26-yard pickup to get inside BR territory. And this is a joint effort between BTV and BCA. We'll show the names coming up later on here.
A lot of them today.
But we have a lot of names that woke up bright and early to bring this game to you, as here's another running play straight up the middle to Pierre. Going to be shy of the first down. For BTV, the names are, it's a long list. We have Mike Morello in the truck. We also have Scott Olson, Tyler Chrisman, Christian Bracero, Brad Barnsley, Jason Pritchard. We also have the Fowlers, Jeff and Mr. Fowler as well. So a lot of names. And Megan Stanovich.
And us.
I'm probably, they've heard us the entire time, but they haven't turned the channel yet.
I mean, we're important too.
That was impressive, John. Didn't even have to come up for air halfway through.
Well, it's going to be your turn after this play.
Rosenpierre gets the first down and then some, looking for a touchdown on Turkey Day, taken down at the 16-yard line out of bounds.
All right, BCA side, start from the top down. Mark Lindy holding it down. Jay Miller here as well. We got Mike the Postman Simmons, another delivery to the viewers of Brockton. And Aaron Tebow upstairs.
You're not gonna
bring us.
You're not going to bring up Doobie?
Oh, yeah.
You forgot. How do you? And Nick Allende. We forgot the sideline.
We forgot.
Oh, wow. We're awful.
At least we're even. We each forgot a sideline person. So we got Nick Allende, sideline camera. And, of course, the 7-time award-winning director, producer, Emmy-nominated Newbie Ratto. Check out Out of Bounds. Phenomenal documentary. Touches on a lot of topics. Check it out.
Trying to earn some brownie points because he had to hang out around Newbie after the game.
No, it's more the holiday parade and basketball season I'm worried about.
The final seconds will tick off as the BR Trojans take another edition of the Cape Cod Cafe Cup, 36-15. A full effort by the BR Trojans.
7-1 the now Cape Cod Cafe Cup. I don't think we've seen a matchup as one-sided as this this has just been complete domination by the Trojans. Of course, the new playoff format has a lot to do with it. Brockton, not a motivated team after they get eliminated from the playoffs, and BR likes to show up and show out for the home crowd. And they do so here today.
BR scores the most points by one team in the history of this Thanksgiving rivalry. Of course, this rivalry dates back to the 90s and 80s with some great Super Bowl matchups, but recently it's been the BR Trojans that have gotten the best of the Brockton Boxers, Brian.
Yeah, it really has. Now 7-1. I think it's overall 7-3 Bridgewater-Raynham in this. And you know, we saw it today here. You saw really which was the better team. I mean, I know you brought it up Division I for Division II, but it really doesn't come down to your talent or your enrollment. It really comes down to talent here. And Bridgewater-Raynham, I think they come in with the confidence, knowing that you went to the South Sectional Final for the second straight year, and Brockton, you know, rather forgettable playoff performance yet again this year. And I just think a lot of it came down to mentality coming into this game.
The BR Trojans have outscored the Boxers in this rivalry by about 50 points, so Matt talked about the one-sidedness of this rivalry, but right now we're going to send it down to the quarterback, and also we have Newbie Rateau down there. Newbie.
All right, we're here, player of the game, Corey Sullivan. Corey, first and foremost, congratulations. Great game, domination. This is your thoughts on today in your career.
I love every single one of these guys, and I'm going to miss it.
No, definitely emotional for you, it being the last game. This kind of, you know, talk about some of the best moments over the last 4 years, and even in this game.
Thanksgiving, obviously. My first touchdown, my first win. The King Philip games, even though we lost 2 years in a row. Just good memories.
Congratulations. Best of luck. Back to you guys.
Obviously a very emotional moment for some of these players, putting on the football helmet and the football pads for the final time. And in a rivalry game, some of the performances that we saw, as right now the on-field ceremonies are set to begin. And Joey D'Amelio will win the player of the game on the Bridgewater side. Michi Doranville will be the Brockton MVP in 2 selections. I don't think anybody can really argue with here. Both players really helping out their teams effectively.
Yeah, they really did. I mean, on both sides, it was kind of a toss-up. It was Dormaville, or was it going to be Rosenpierre, and from Bridgewater-Raynham was going to be either Joey D'Amelio or Corey Sullivan. And I think really what gave it to Joey D'Amelio, was the way that he played defensively all morning.
Yeah, for Doranville, it was his play on both sides of the ball. Of course, he had the opening touchdown for the Boxers, and then really holding it down in the middle of the field on defense, really shoring up the run, especially to start the second half when BR's offense started floundering. And Dimitri Doranville, well-earned MVP today.
The trophy has been presented once again to the Bridgewater-Raynham Trojans. They get the 36-15 victory. D'Amelio, the MVP for the BR Trojans, and Dimitri Doranville, the MVP for the Brockton Boxers. That'll do it for another year of this Cape Cod Cafe Cup rivalry. Happy Thanksgiving once again to everybody out there. Thank you for watching BCA and BTV all season long. We'll have you covered on both channels coming up in the winter. Thanks for watching, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving.